evening. It is episode 148 of the longest running episodic, whatever the hell this is. And here is the triumphant return of Brad Harlan. He swam all the way from the mall, got a boat, built a boat, floated on his boat, came all the way over, and here he is. Brad, good evening. How are you?
Thanks. It's good to be back to catch up. Like I said earlier, I don't think I really missed anything because I've been an avid listener. So it's been great.
Good stuff. So we'll touch on it briefly. I'll do a couple of housekeeping items, and then we'll really briefly touch on, we did the national last 2 weeks. We're pretty much all nationaled out, but I didn't get a chance to say too much to you about it. We'll get a couple of words from you about it, and then we'll move on. And I'll actually share a couple of things that I was looking up on this past week. But let me grab a couple of comments here, and then we'll do a couple of housekeeping things. First, Kamikaze Sports Cards. First, bitches. Facts. Paul says, one like it was 1 tablespoonful of mayo that Eric eats. Spurs card says, make it 2 tablespoons and you got yourself a deal. We're negotiating already. I like it. I like what's happening here. Bob Jackson, good evening. I wonder how many bugs he would eat per tablespoon of mayo to not have to eat the mayo.
Who are you, Bob?
Dufek says, do you see that Jeremy Lee is set to interview the new owners? You mean the committee? They're not really owners. The owner thing has been thrown around a lot. Nobody actually owns it, but there is a committee. There are people in charge of the committee. Yes,
there's 3 guys that are going to be running it moving forward. Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, they're going to be basically promoting it along with that committee thing they got going on there. Do I didn't have HVAC experience? You can only hope. Jeff here says hello, everyone. Hello, Orlando. Good evening. Eric rolling with 3 Pepsis. Going to be a crazy night. I know. It's craziness.
I went out recently with a bunch of people from work, and they enjoyed their beverages, and they had never seen me drink before, and I had 1 beer, and you would have thought in their minds I just drank a keg. They couldn't believe it. So that was a crazy night. I had 1 Sam Adams.
I was about to say it, but I was assuming it was going to be Guinness, so they probably assumed that's probably why.
It was a Chinese restaurant. They didn't have Irish.
I only have the 1 beer, but I do have Guinness in the fridge.
Yeah,
but I only have 1 beer.
I had a Sam Adams, and you would have thought that. I mean, they just couldn't believe I was having a beer. They thought all hell was going to break loose, or it was ridiculous.
Yep. All right, Kamikaze says, is that Brad, the comeback card investor? As far as I know, he was killed, possibly by Dustin, or at least that's the allegation goes. Allegedly. Philly Joe says, good evening. Good evening, Philly Joe. Dave, good evening. Bob Jackson, I can't wait for the soft serve questions they're going to get. Oh, no doubt. Do you like cards? Sharp and centered. Evening, gents. Happy to see you back, Brad. Good stuff. Good evening, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Carlisle. Good evening. This is exactly why the Nationals should go to Atlanta. We have mastered air conditioning. There you go. There's a pitch. James says, hola, everyone. Thank you, James. Paul here says he normally drinks mayo by the glass. Fucks.
Just disgusting.
Will says, Dustin killed Brad. Allegedly. It was a crime of passion. Allegedly. And jealousy. Allegedly. Just want to make sure we got our bases covered for legal purposes.
Yeah.
Make sure we're covered. But I have my suspicions is all I'm saying. I have suspicions. Spurs card, good evening. Absolutely. Thank you all for the comments. A couple of quick housekeeping things. We did the last 2 episodes about National. Brad was also at the National. And thank you to everybody here for the comments as well. And we'll get a little update on what's going on with the card shop. That was underwater. I showed you guys probably a couple of weeks back, maybe 3 weeks back now, give or take. So we'll at least get a little bit of an update on how that's going. And then we'll touch on, like I said, we'll touch on the National thing a little bit. We're mostly nationaled out, but we didn't get a chance to get too much of Brad's story. He did get a chance to attend and see some things, so that's cool. We'll touch on it briefly, and then we'll open it up. I do have a story that I'll share with you guys that I've been getting caught up on the last couple of days. It's not directly related to cards, but it's kind of funny that the drama, specifically that I'm talking about, is not completely unrelated concept-wise to what we deal with in the card space. So this is content and drama. So I'll give you a little bit of both there. Here we go. Dustin is going to blame Destiny and his split personality? Maybe. That's a possibility. Good evening, Yannick. Good evening, Bobby Burrell.
Hey, Bobby.
Good evening, James. Dustin allegedly poisoned Flip and Steve. Oh my God, it's getting worse. He's allegedly mass murdering now. This is terrible. This is horrific. All right. One quick thing that I'll touch on, and probably it'll be on the channel when I get the link to it and it goes live. I will share it. I did do a kind of a conversation interview with a gentleman, K-Dubs High Five. So I'll share it on the screen here. And I'll leave a link to the channel in the description. He does a lot of these kind of 5-question interview things. He reached out to me some time back and asked if we could do something to set something up. I was able to do that with him earlier today. So I think that'll be sometime next week. He'll give me the info and I'll pass it along when we get there. But I wanted to shout out the channel, and I'll leave a link to the channel in the description for folks checking out the replay. Nice dude. Had a nice conversation. I think all those 5-minute kind of interview conversations are all like 10 or 15 minutes. They're all pretty short. So really light work compared to what we do over here. I did laugh because he goes, it's like, well, if you need to go over, it's like, I do 4-hour live streams. This 15 minutes is an intriguing concept you speak of. But anyway, all right, fair enough. So I thought I'd give him a shout out. Now, first, Brad, you were you gave us a quick brief update. How are things going with the transition over to the new shop? Because the other one was underwater. There was a lot of issue going on.
Yeah. So everything's running great now. All the remediation work is done. We'll be ready rock and roll at the beginning of September. So yeah, things are looking good considering what we did. I mean, again, Eric will make fun of me for this, but there's a lot of people way worse off than we were.
Oh, yeah.
We had some floating cardboard. We had new floors like carpets, but at the end of the day, we have insurance. We're going to be covered for all the damages, and we'll just move forward. So there's still a ton of people that are in Nova Scotia right now that are still suffering. The government just kicked in a little policy to help out everyone. If you're not covered by flood insurance, you got the Nova Scotia government is prepared to go up to $200,000 per individual residence or business to assist if you do not have proper coverage, which was just an amazing thing to see. So,
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah,
That's very important. Very important. Now, in the same vein, kind of following up on that, so that's with the shop and everything. PSA Canada is back up to speed. That's good to go as far as that piece is concerned? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So nobody's cards, nothing was affected at all. It was just our stuff. So everything's good there. So we're pumping up the orders.
Do you keep those two businesses separate?
Yes.
So there's never ever PSA Canada stuff at AMG?
No, there is, because we use that as a drop-off location. Okay. So, but everything we have, and the new AMG as well, we have a vault. So the vault is 100% waterproof / fireproof /
probably wise, yes.
Yeah, it was Scotiabank before. That was the main reason we took there, because as we look to open up the official PSA submission center that we're working on, it's exciting times coming down the pipeline.
Good stuff. Now, you did attend the National. You visited. So how many days did you actually end up going down?
Tuesday to Sunday. So I think, everything that you guys talked about and covered, I really don't have too much. The National for me is not about buying cards. It never has. I pick up a few trinkets, a few small items here or there. It was more to socialize, to meet the guys. I did a lot of stuff with PSA. I dropped a lot of cards off to grade for people. Met tons more new people. Had a great time with the Dave and Adams crew, which I always do. Feel like I'm an honorary member of their group, and there's not a funner group in the hobby than them. So we had some good times, lots of laughs. It was great. And I didn't make it to a lot of things I wanted to do. Okay. I didn't make it to the YouTube, the content creators night. I wanted to. Okay. I know I talked to Andy. I just couldn't get over there Thursday. I had some stuff to do with PSA. But I'll leave it at this. Everyone already talked about it. The National, I feel like it's kind of done and over with now. But trade night, to me, is the absolute funnest. It was incredible. It was absolutely. I'd go to the trade night at the National 10 times before I'd go to the actual.
What I'm hearing is that you conned some kids to taking Alex Manoah's, allegedly.
He just got sent down again today.
Which is why you needed to offload them during the National, Brad. That was your chance.
I know. I wanted to.
How things have turned. How things have changed. Kamikaze says Brad is trending. There you go. Sports Card Dad, comeback card investor is fine. Everything's fine. That sounds like someone who is trying to cover his tracks, allegedly. Sounds like somebody guilty would say, Brad. That's all I'm saying. Just I got questions, is what I'm saying here. Good evening, Ziggy. Orlando, good to hear. Indeed. I got questions about this Sports Card Dad. I got concerns. I've got concerns. Is the way I would phrase it. Now, speaking of drama that isn't Sports Card Dad allegedly killing people, It's not related to sports cards, but it was funny because I was getting caught up on this because it'd been a while since I'd kind of tuned in too much. But what I thought was interesting, because I pay attention a lot in the watch space, and I've talked about this before and I watch it. Well, if you guys want to have fun, I'll give you the quick high level version of it. But if you're interested after I describe it to you and you want to go a little deeper into it, you can go into YouTube and look up Timepiece Gentleman. So just type in Timepiece Gentleman. And right now there's a lot of people making a lot of videos about this. But long story short, you want to talk about like shady characters in the sports card space. This guy is the guy who built a business on consigning watches. And consigning watches is a bit of a murky, dangerous game. Just to give you a high level, what it really comes down to, the consignment portion, is that you basically sign a contract where they sell it for you, but they take a percentage. The idea being that theoretically, with contacts and with whatever, they can get you more money for it, and in turn, you would get more money out of it, but then they would take their cut out of the percentage, the difference between the final sale price and the cut. But the problem is then you've effectively handed over and signed over your property. So if anything happens, your only real recourses are civil. You can basically sue to get your money back or the item back or whatever, but it becomes very tricky. And that's the short version. This is me giving you the short version. Well, this particular guy, the Timepiece Gentleman, Anthony, I want to say it's Anthony Ferrer. Well, he's been arrested 40 times. He already has. He has an extended track record. We talk about our Bill Mastro and a lot of the shadiness of the PWCC guys and the show bidding guy. And the reason I'm mentioning this, other than my entertainment, the reason I'm mentioning it is because we talk about how you got to buy the dealer. We talk about how, there are people with like questions in their reputation, spotty reputations, who keep getting chance after chance, and people like ask, well, why would they? Well, think about this. This is a business where we're talking about items that at the minimum are thousands of dollars into tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. And this person's been arrested 40 times. And he had this business, and he was able to build a whole social media following based on, day in the life. But what happened was, this is maybe a week and change. So like I said, I've been out of the loop, but I suddenly started seeing a couple of videos about it, and then I started going down the rabbit hole about 2 days ago. And I started laughing my head off because, well, I had seen some shady stuff he had done in the past. He did this stunt where he suddenly went dark, which made everybody think he had run off with the watches and the money. This is maybe 6 months or a year ago. So he already had some incidents. Well, apparently about a week ago, he did like a confessional video where he confessed that he had lost $5 million. He was $5 million in the hole. And he had basically, the way he described it, we talk about the 1,000,008 jokes, but effectively, it was drugs, hookers, and gambling. And then he was pleading with people he needed to continue business so that he could make the money back. And I'm sitting there like, oh no. And there have been live streams, there have been videos. I'm not saying that I went into a deep dive watching this stuff cackling, but I might have, is all I'm trying to say. I might have. As a lover of Schadenfreude, this is right up my alley right here. So if y'all want to go down the rabbit hole of having a good time, like this sports card stuff is kid stuff. No. How about hookers, gambling, and there and that I haven't even covered all the unsavory things. If you really want to have some fun, Buddy, in addition to the 40 arrests and all kinds of stuff related to it, he might have been doing some masseuse work, male masseuse work. I'm just saying the rabbit hole goes deep. It's very, very bizarre world. And you knew he was kind of weird and shady back then, but then more stuff comes out. And more stuff comes out like, wait, what? How far down does this rabbit hole go?
I just like the way you just, what you're describing. I'm picturing this guy like, pleading his case, on live YouTube or whatever. And it's like, people, you have to help me. I'm addicted to hookers and blow. Please send me your money.
Yeah. Yes. That's what makes it great. I was like, this is the kind of trash I can work with. All right. Great.
Trust me. I need to get back on track here. Send me your money. I promise I won't use it on hookers and blow this time. Just please.
Well, apparently it's divided. Apparently it's divided like $2 million to like the watch consigners and $3 million to investors who had put in a bunch of money. So it's like, but again, we don't even know if the 5 million is the real number. It could be high, it could be low, it could be like, but either way, it's like. And he started a comeback series. You want to talk about Brad, the comeback card investor? It was the comeback series on his road to redemption. It was literally called the Road to Redemption series. And I'm sitting there like, and at the bottom of the screen, it showed how much he was in the hole as he tried to dig himself out of it. I was like, I'm dying of laughter. Just type in Timepiece Gentleman into the YouTube and have fun.
Is his first name Mark? And did he have a card shop?
No, no.
Yes.
No, it was Anthony. It's Anthony.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is it Mark Anthony? I don't know.
No. It's Anthony Ferrer. I think it's Anthony Ferrer. If you type in Timepiece Gentleman, you'll find a bunch. Right now, it's a very hot topic, and that's look. The reason why it's interesting, in addition to being ridiculous, part of the reason it's interesting is that the whole watch consignment thing is a whole genre of business. There's a bunch of businesses in that space who are now like simultaneously denouncing what he did, but then also saying like, but the consignment thing is fine, guys. It's just he's shady. He's been arrested 40 times. That's your problem. So obviously they're trying to like put the emphasis over there.
40 times is still 10 less than Brad.
Allegedly. Who knows?
Clean record over here. Clean record. Got it all erased.
Yeah. It's all been expunged. It's
like the 5 marriages. They've all been annulled.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip through a bunch of the stuff here. Jogs, hookers, and gambling, the Holy Trinity. Exactly, Will. Now you know. That's a lot of hookers, apparently. Hookers and blow, yes. Orlando, I'm going to skip your comment. Keep the political thing out of it. I don't give a shit what political side you're on. Sounds like my kind of trash viewing. Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's mine. I'll own up. The reason I shared the story is I'll own up to it. Like, this is the kind of trash I can get into. I'm into it. Like I said, I'd heard of the guy before, and he had shadiness prior. This isn't the first incident, but I was like, the recent one is like, whoa! It's like you were literally holding my beer to your previous issues. All right, we're going to the next level. We're leveling up, you guys. We're leveling up. Eric does the same, but $5 on fluff. Bruins cards and mail. Man. Yeah, really dare if you resort to mail masseuse work. Man, I don't know, man. Yep, Jerry. I think I saw this episode. That's right. Right.
If somebody just rolled in right now and started watching and reading the chat, they'd be like, what in the hell is going on?
It seems completely legit. Look, I just thought I would share it because I assume there are other lovers of Schadenfreude like myself who might want to be. I gave you like the base level understanding so that you know what you're getting into, and then go down the rabbit hole as far as you want. But I'm just letting you know. Otherwise, I think there's some Reddit groups and stuff that are talking about a lot because they've uncovered a lot of stuff about his past. The point, though, circling back around to sports cards, is you got to buy the dealer. It's not a different concept. There are plenty of dealers who have had a lot of issues here who keep hanging around and keep getting opportunities and promotions, and they're there, and they become institutionalized. And well, how with their shady past were they able to? I'm literally giving you an example of to the tune of multi-millions of dollars, and the dude barely has been around. He only started a couple of years ago, really building his profile. So think of it, multi-millions of dollars, effectively, in like a whole pyramid scheme that he was able to build for himself. And part of the reason why, in addition to what he talked about, I guarantee you part of the reason he was able to blow through so much money was because as part of his whole social media presence, he was doing all this stuff. He was making these deals, selling these watches. He did sell some of it legitimately. But at the same time, he's showing this lavish lifestyle of like expensive cars, a condo that was like $90,000 a month. So you quickly start doing the math. And he's traveling like, a luxury airfare. He's basically living the jet set and Brad Hartland lifestyle, but he's doing it like he's not earning enough money to make it go. It's like, dude, you can't actually do that. And then having like $500 dinners and all kinds of. Guess what? The money adds up, dude. Enough has to be coming. You can't be doing it at 5 or 10% off the top of these transactions, whatever, and hope to pay for that lifestyle and actually have staff and actually run a business. It's like, good luck with that.
I don't know if Brad's got jet setting money. He's kind of got like a one prop propeller, like seaplane on a lake money.
I got a minivan. I drive a minivan every day, and I couldn't be happier.
Eric, right now you're in a rolling truck in Manila. You should be trying to aspire for the minivan dollars that Brad Holland's got going on.
And there's no air conditioning in this truck, and it sucks.
Yeah. I got the minivan right now is currently parked in the underground parking, filled with Funkos of Ricky, Bubbles, and Julian. So we're going to do a signing next week.
Nice. It's pretty much. Bob Jackson, he's got that PT Cruiser money. Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
Send lawyers, guns, and money. He's going to need a lot of the lawyers, a lot of the guns. The money's the problem. I don't know if he can afford the lawyers and the guns. So the latest twist in his melodrama is that his most recent video is that he said he's retiring from YouTube. That was about 2 days ago. So we'll see. We'll see how long that one lasts. Days of our as the watch turns.
Well, they
So.
don't let you do YouTube videos from federal prison. Because
Allegedly. Says you, Eric, not with that attitude.
When you blow through $5 million of other people's money, that's where you go, is federal prison. You don't make YouTube videos.
So you claim, man, or so you claim. Minivan down by the river. I like what you did, Philly Joe. I like what you did.
There you go.
I like it.
I like what you did. Hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. I just like I said, the last couple of days I got back down that rabbit hole. I was like, what have I missed? I started watching a couple of live streams where people were talking about it. I was like, oh my God, I've missed so much. I need to get caught up. You knew something like that was going to happen because his former business partners basically ran away from him as fast as they could. They had done everything they could to separate themselves before this. And then obviously now they're even more so trying to be like, just so we're clear, we're no longer associated with him. Just so we're clear.
In his spare time, he breaks wax.
Maybe. Hey, maybe Backyard Breaks could, he needs to make some cash. So maybe Backyard Breaks could use a dude.
Yeah.
He's managed to talk. Look, he managed to talk himself into making a lot happen for a dude. Like I said, 40 arrests. He has already been in jail multiple times. So it's one of those things like clearly he can talk his way out of a lot of trouble. I don't know if he can talk his way out of this one, but apparently the last straw that kind of broke the camel's back on it is that he was in the verge of making a deal with a jewelry store that was going to provide him merchandise to sell. He was basically going to sell on their behalf, and the percentage he was going to make, he was going to use towards his redemption story, the redemption series. But then in terms of panning, he was talking, doing a vlog. As he panned, you were able to see the sign of the store. So people bombarded the store going, what are you doing? You're going to do business with this guy. What is wrong with you? So the store got absolutely bombarded with people reaching out, and they got scared off.
Gee, you think?
Hey, maybe. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh.
I was highly entertained. Brad, all I'm saying is I was highly entertained. I very much enjoyed it. Wholesome content, Brad. Wholesome content that I can get into. I enjoyed it. Oh,
Brad,
well.
I have a question for you, Brad, to move to the next subject.
Yeah.
So, you've been obviously busy doing a lot of different things, whether it be traveling to the national, the hurricane, the damage to the streets. You've been busy and you haven't been able to come back and join us for a while. The last time you were here, you told us about how you were involved in that one ring card.
Oh, yes.
And the gentleman from Halifax, he was a blue collar kind of working guy, and
it was Ontario. Ontario is where it was pulled.
Right.
The guy from Halifax is Brad.
Yeah, I know. I thought they were both from Halifax. I'm sorry. It's been a while. Okay, I apologize. If you'd like to fire me and make my screen go black and send me into my room, I'm okay with that.
I want to hear your story about your watch consignment business, Eric. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. Who was it?
Just throwing it out.
So, and so you got involved in this because, for some reason people trust you and you're well known, even with the watch stuff that's going on with you and the 50 arrests. But anywho, you were heavily involved in that. Since you've been on and talked to us about that, it has gone to Mr. Face Tattoo himself for $2.5 million.
Yeah, $2 million USD.
What can you add to? Because I know there's some things you probably cannot discuss, and that is completely fine. But what can you add to this story since we talked to you last?
You know what? I could talk about anything now. Like I got the full green light.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually watched a video this morning of Post Malone was on Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And it was very good. It was like a 4 or 5 minute clip on the ring, and it was very enjoyable. He's a true Magic the Gathering, plays the game like I don't want to say every day, but weekly, and he that was a very good. Everyone should watch that interview if you're interested in at all in Magic the Gathering or just the story. It was very well done.
Prior to this, he had bought some other big cards. Like he's paid a lot of money for Magic cards, so this isn't the first time. Obviously, this is the biggest one.
Yeah, he jokes about it. He was like, I don't know if this is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Can you imagine $2 million on on one card. Anyways, he joked around about it, but you can see it's all relative. Like he's in the same, for him, $2 million. I mean, that's his grail, the most money he's ever going to spend. That's probably like if we were going to buy a $5 or $10 or $20,000 card. You know what I mean? Something. So it's all relative in that. But
Right.
yeah, so I talked to Brooke that sold the card. Even more when I took a chance to help the guy out. I mean, I didn't really do anything. I just said, hey, I just want to help this guy. It sounds legit. He didn't have a passport.
I think, listen, you're typical you. You're not taking credit. I mean, they came to you because you're so trustworthy, and they knew that you weren't going to try to take advantage of this guy or screw him over. You jumped on a plane. You flew, across, the continent. About as far as across you can go, right? I mean, from freaking Halifax to California, I mean, that's about as far as you can go.
It is.
You walked this thing in through the doors of PSA, got it graded, jumped back on a plane, went as far as you could travel in North America again, and you did all this for this guy. So, I think, and because it was then graded by PSA, this card now became completely legit, and the price went up, because if he sold it raw, he wouldn't have gotten $2 million.
Yeah.
So I think you did quite a bit. So don't be Brad right now.
Yeah, I know, it's true. And honestly, if I took a spin when I talked to Brooke and Carly, the PR who runs the Notable Group, I talked to them last week, and that was the first time I actually talked to Brooke. He just wanted to call up and, not to be sappy about it, but he just wanted to call and just say thanks. And to me, like, that was myself. I put him on speakerphone. Me, Sherry, and my daughter Summer were there, and he just said, like, thanks so much, man. He goes, you just took a chance. You helped the guy out. And I was like, hey, it was a pleasure. And then I told him, I said, I never thought about it, but from my standpoint now and from PSA's standpoint, I don't think I'm saying this by saying this wrong. I don't think PSA has ever had that much marketing in the history of PSA. Mm-hmm. Like, I know I talked to some of the guys in the marketing side of things, and they just mentioned like the spikes and the traffic and the views and the hits. And then from my standpoint, like, I went global news, CTV, CBC, national, across the country. All of a sudden I started to get more calls from people. Hey, I got a 52 Tops mantle, and I just watched your story on there. Can you help me out? And the spinoff, with no intentions on that, the spinoff for me and for PSA Canada has been just crazy. Like, it's been awesome. Like, the whole thing has just been awesome. And you know what the best thing about it, Eric, is the guy, he sold the card. He's still working every day at Costco. He's not going to change anything right now. Like, he's just a modest guy. And when you watch his clips, you can just see he gets a little bit like me at times in front of the camera. He gets tongue tied. He's kind of, you can see, but it was just awesome. It's just a great story.
Well, I know, I don't know. You and I never talk about finances, and I don't want to. Yeah. But knowing you the way I do, you probably didn't ask for a dime of this $2 million. So I hope you are advertising like crazy your part in this, and in the new store there should be a giant banner saying that you had the journey of the ring started here.
You're saying like when you go to the convenience store and they got the lottery like winning ticket this amount, you got a big old banner sign.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything smarmy with that. I think it's really great if you could advertise every chance you get for the next hand, because you got to strike when the iron's hot. And a year from now, it's going to be some other card, some other celebrity. No one's going to care. Yep. So right now, you have got to push that it all started with you, and get more of those calls and get more of that business and push.
Mm-hmm. Now I have a question here that I want to kind of. I have a question that I want to play off of kind of what we talked, because now you say that you're free to speak a little bit more on, now that the transaction's been done and the rest of it's been taken care of.
Yeah.
Now, being a PSA guy, I get the allure of it, but I'm curious because so I'll give So Ziggy here asked the question, why not BGS? Because
Yeah.
BGS had made that offer. Listen, look, here's the thing. I'll answer part of it for you, and I'll give you a chance. Here.
Oh!
Yeah, I know. BGS is trash. I would have nothing to do with them business wise. I would have no interest. However, they did make a very attractive package. Like if you saw the offer that they had extended prior to, like they like custom holder or blah blah blah. I'm sure they would have done everything short of like bow down and acknowledge you. From the perspective of just resale or whatever, I don't think it would have made. I don't know if I don't know enough about Post Malone's collection to know if it would have made a difference to him because he was the end buyer. Because all that stuff is all great and all, but in this case, the goal eventually was to sell it. So here's the thing. So if the goal is just to sell it, BGS could literally offer anything short of BGS offering $3 million. Who cares? Post Malone is going to pay for this. It's what does Post Malone want in this case? What does the end buyer want? He's not going to keep the card. So BGS could offer all the custom holders they want. Who cares? It's what is the end buyer going to be most likely to pay you the maximum for?
Yeah. So I think when you look at that, from what I understand, too, Post Malone's, he is a PSA guy. And the other thing, when you're selling these, I guess to answer Ziggy's question as well, is when you're playing in that high end market, like having the guarantee is a big part of it. PSA standing behind that, they authenticate it and grade it, and other companies can say that they do at times, but they really don't. That's a big component of it. And I can say this as well. The three, obviously Adam Martin, who's my closest friend in the card hobby, he had $1 million. He was prepared to pay $1 million for the card.
Thanks, Brad.
So
you said I was your closest friend in the hobby.
Second.
No one is your friend, Eric.
Oh yeah. Never mind.
Don't be spreading fake news over here. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. Never mind. My bad.
Right. So, anyways, he wanted it authenticated by PSA. So when there's a lot of people in the mix, there was a deal done. Like when he talks about the story, before he met Post Malone with the card, they had a deal already. It wasn't officially signed, but the deal was in place. They had the card pretty much sold. He wanted to go down and show the card to Post Malone. And when they talk about it in one of their interviews, and he said the intentions was the card was sold that afternoon. That night, Post Malone seen it. Post Malone made a decision that he wanted the card. They said, I guess, the number back, and he just said, all right, you know what? We have a deal. Sold. This is where I want it. And he wanted the card to go to him in the first place as well. And that's even when Adam stepped back. Adam said, hey, look, you're going to get a lot more than my $1 million. My $1 million offer stands. Go out there for 2 or 3 weeks, market it, see what you can get for it. You know what I mean? Which is another solid move. So, I have pictures. The best picture I have is with the other person that was part of the security detail that I went with. So I can't show that picture because until if he gives me the okay, for sure. But I do have a picture of me with the
you could put a big old version of Eric's head on top of his face.
Yes.
Just do a little Photoshop work. There you go. Yeah. Fix problem solved.
But you can't crop the guy out.
Yeah, you know what? I just don't. It's not my place. He just told me he has the pictures. He sent them to me. Unless he says, I'm just not doing it. He was a super nice guy. So
I get it. It's fair. It's a fair question.
Yeah.
So here now, let me kind of pose the question from this one. So I'll change the question a little bit on this one because, like I said, BGS offered a whole bunch of stuff on it. You talked about the promotion it is for PSA Canada, and PSA Canada has its own thing. Your association with it is kind of what led to that, which is great, which is actually really good for PSA Canada. But the question would be, PSA obviously doesn't necessarily have to offer anything, but at the same time, it would seem to me, because my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, who paid for the grading fee?
So after I signed the NDA and watched the video of it, we had to have a valid credit card on the account.
Yeah.
In case the card wasn't authentic. So between the whole team, everyone, this sounds stupid now when I look at it, but I said, at the end of the day, I'll give him my credit card when I fly down. I was so confident it was real after watching all the videos and how he pulled it. And he hired a lawyer. He spent every cent he had on a retainer. He simply didn't have the money. He didn't know what else he was going to do. And I knew it was real. Like I just had no doubt on it. So I volunteered. I said, I'll put my credit card down. And then if it's after it's graded, you can just pay me back after you sell the card or whatever. And we didn't end up having to do that. Which is great. But as far as that goes, the flights I paid. Yeah, I flew down, I flew back. It cost me probably $5,000 of my own personal money to go on this adventure. And even if there was no publicity, no anything, being the collector and forget about the niceness part of it, it was just an experience that was absolutely awesome, and it was fun. It was scary, a little bit nerve-wracking. You know, we get picked up with armed security guards at LAX, and it was cool. It was an adventure that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So,
now, did you transport it in a metal suitcase handcuffed to your arm?
no, we did.
That would have been the move, Brad. Come on, you're not going to get that many opportunities. That was the time. That was the move. The handcuffed briefcase. That was the thing. You could have had a handcuffed Pelican case. It would have been very exciting. Missed opportunities, Brad. Why do we got to think of these things for you? Come on, man.
In a mag holder and in his back pocket the whole time.
No. It was in a plastic, like a plastic sleeve. It was not secured the best. That's for damn sure. But
comforting. Good to know.
Oh yeah. When I look back at it now, I was like, I didn't really know when he took it out of the package, and all of a sudden I looked at it and I held it in my hand, and I swear, Carlos, I talked to you about this. This is I don't want to take up too much time with this, but
we got 4 hours, Brad.
I know. I swear to God, though, I had the card in my hand and I looked at it and I was like, and I'm not a Magic the Gathering guy, but it drew me in. And I know that sounds so like the power of the ring. I've said this many times. I swear to God, the aesthetics on it, like it almost. I don't want to say it's like a reflective card. It almost, the light shining off, it gives off this glare. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then I just passed it over.
$2 million.
And Brad was like whispering "my precious" as he took it. It's like, I got questions. I got some concerns. I'm hearing some things, Brad. We're gonna have an intervention. We're gonna have a conversation, you and I. Yeah. But it's fair enough. We did talk about this a little earlier, but just high level. So AMG right now is recovering. You guys are moving to the new store. You say it's going to be, I think, like the beginning of the month.
Yeah, official grand opening is going to be September 14th. We'll probably be up and running maybe a week or so before that. But good to go.
And you were able to salvage most of the stuff. Most of the stuff is unharmed, where the rest of it is covered by the insurance. Basically, high level. Was that about right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Perfect. Thank you, Brandon, for asking.
Yeah.
Been a theatrical release, yes. Eric rides 1,000 miles in a bicycle with a broken hip. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Then he just gives you the middle finger. Shame on you.
Sorry.
Amazing.
Sorry, Brad.
Yeah. But no, it was fair. I thought it was good to ask the question, though, because like I said, Beckett did offer a lot of stuff. My thought process is, in that scenario, it's what does the end consumer want? And if you're pretty sure that Post Malone has already made clear he will pay the most out of anybody for Magic the Gathering, he's done it, like, already a number of times. And if that's literally the one card, and Post Malone has money, he's one more bad album away from getting it all back, which is to say another album.
Yeah.
I'm not going to co-sign on his music. I'm sorry. I've heard the songs. I'm not going to co-sign on that. So he's one album away from getting it all back anyway. So one more concert tour and he'll have it back. No, I think Post Malone is hard up for cash. But if you already know that he's going to be your highest bidder, so to speak, and you already know he's going to pay basically, then it's just, what does Post Malone want? Like, what does he want? And that'll be what you give him, because that's where you're going to get the money from.
And you look at it again, put it in relative terms, like $2 million. It seems insane, and it is to most of us. But I truly believe, even at $2 million on that card is going to be. It's legendary in that space. It's the first serial numbered one of one. It's Magic. It's Lord of the Rings. It's everything about it. If I seen that card sell, I'm sure as long as Post Malone stays in his current state and doesn't run into difficulty, he's never selling that card. That card, he's going to keep that card forever. But if something did happen and that card went for sale, I'm sure it'd be 4 million or 5 million or 6 million. It's just going to keep on increasing over time, in my personal opinion. So,
and worst comes to worst, I think I know a watch consigner. If Post Malone has any watches, figure it out. And Brad, I'm prepared to bid right now 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollars.
That's awesome.
Look at all the zeros there, Eric. That right there is cash money. 100 trillion. Right there. Hit me up, Post Malone. That's all I'm saying. Right here. All yours, bud.
American?
What's that?
Is that like 25 cents American?
It's 100 trillion. I'm not even sure that's a Doge. Like it's way worse than that. They had such hyperinflation. These are infamous. You can buy these on eBay super cheap. They had such hyperinflation. This was a legal tender bill at one point, 100 trillion. And I've got like a small envelope of them, and you can get them on eBay for a couple bucks. I was going through some drawers and I found this envelope, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. Here's 50 trillion. Here's another 50 trillion if you want. That's pretty good. And then 10 trillion, and then you got the 100 trillion. So I'll probably get them framed at some point. It's just so bizarre, but I got a kick out of it. All right, let me scroll through here. Orlando says, great story, Brad. A once in a lifetime opportunity. Agreed. Thank you, Orlando. Average Joe Card Collector says, Brad, is there any fall shows in the works?
Yeah, Halifax show the end of last Saturday of September. Montreal is going to be the 5th, 6th, 7th, or the 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever sequence that is that weekend. And then rolling into the Toronto Expo with Mike Tyson and Ric Flair. Can't wait. Going to be exciting.
But see the way you phrase that, are you going with Mike Tyson and Ric Flair? Because that's the buddy cop drama we all want.
They were just here. They came to the. They were at Shriners in the spring.
They were awesome. The one time I met Mike Tyson with my mother, Sherry, and Summer, we spent about 10, 15 minutes with him. He was hilarious, and just unbelievable. My mom gave him a kiss, and so he arm wrestled Summer, which is the coolest thing. At the time, Summer didn't have a clue who he was. She was probably 10 years old, 11 years old, but she got a video arm wrestling Mike Tyson back and forth. It was wicked.
Yeah, he's a great guy when he's on his meds.
Yeah.
That's been the MO. A lot. If he's just chilling and he's cool, a lot of folks have got good experiences with him at autograph signings and stuff.
Don't have him go off his meds and get angry.
That's a different conversation. Blaine here says, what if Pokemon was serial numbered to card 101? So this has been a thing of speculation. Post Malone isn't the guy who would be doing that one. It would probably have to be somebody like a Logan Paul. The question is, how much money would he pony up for it? Logan Paul's got money too, so how much money would he pony up for that? I don't know.
Doesn't he already have the most expensive one?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, he's got it. He had it in that little, similar to the Tim little holder with the necklace thing. Yeah, so he's got the current most expensive one. So, but if a one of one came into play like this, it'd be the only one similar to the Magic thing. I don't know where Pokemon would rank on that. Pokemon's super popular, but it's but it's not just having people who want it. It's people who want it who have the money. Because you need people who are willing to pay $2.5 million. For anybody to go up to that price, somebody else has got to be willing to get close or meet you up at that price. Otherwise, you'd get it much cheaper. You'd be able to negotiate down.
I think it would exceed.
It's very possible.
If there was a one-of-one Charizard or Pikachu or whatever it was that came out.
Yeah.
And you know what? I shouldn't say if. I'm quite sure that is going to happen. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't they do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people would do it just for the publicity, and Logan Paul's not shy. He does all kinds of stuff for publicity now. Will says, I still don't know what a Post Malone is. I plan to keep it that way. He's a dude who's $2 million lighter. Who's Post Malone? Somebody who needs to invest in a watch consignment business.
Yeah.
You only lose a little bit more than $2 million on that one. Dufects of Life says, the Zimbabwe hyperinflation, 07 to 09, second worst episode of inflation behind post-World War II Hungary.
That's some sad.
Like I said, I already offered $100 trillion, Post Malone. $100 trillion.
So my takeaway on Post Malone, obviously I heard his songs on the radio, etc., etc. I knew what he looked like because of his unique tattoos, etc. But I never realized he always has a red Solo cup with liquor, and he smokes like a champ, and he swears more than anyone I've ever seen swear. If you watch all his interviews now, red Solo cup, cigarette in his hand, and dropping F-bombs left, right, and center. It's it just continues. It's
well, have you ever tried to listen to what I'll generously call music? I'm surprised you can make out words. The rest of it all makes sense. It's I don't think I believe that you believe you said words. I'm not completely convinced you did, but there were sounds. They sounded sort of like words.
That's why there's all different types of music. People like different things. I'm not going to rush to his concert next time he comes to town, but other people will.
Oh, they will. Yeah, but that's the reason he can afford to spend $2 million US on a one-of-one Magic the Gathering card is that someone does. Someone is out there. Someone will be buying that album, and somebody will be attending that concert and listening to the streaming and all of it.
People people love. If you like Post Malone, you love Post Malone.
Yeah. Well, your best bet right now. Your only hope is that if he gets into a bidding war with Taylor Swift, because she's making all the money now.
Yeah.
So if they get in a bidding war, Taylor Swift wins.
It's insane what she's doing right now. Like it's mind blowing. It's awesome. I just, you know what I always think about what she feels like right now, like to all the haters out there, like the Kanye West and all these like that, like he bullied and picked on her. Anyways, I won't get into that side of it, but to her, it's like, I'm the biggest star in music, like by a mile right now. It's like all you haters, like screw you guys. Like, awesome, good for her.
I told you, we're gonna really see something if you get the 1-of-1 Pikachu and she buys it for 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollars.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's all I'm saying. Think about it.
I've never really been a fan of her either, but I liked her more when she was doing country tunes than what she does now. But again, whatever you like.
Well, look, she's selling out arenas. Not even arenas, just stadium shows. And it's like big money just to get. You almost need to be able to afford the $2 million 1-of-1 Magic Gathering card to get a ticket.
Oh yeah.
It's like good luck. Let me know how that turns out. When people in the U.S. complain about our Fed, I just chuckle. There you go. Good on you. Well, that sounds good. Post National, there really wasn't much. I did have a good chuckle though. Mike Baseball Collector had a video he picked up. The Chasing Cardboard Boys are back at it. I did enjoy that Dustin is trying to talk through the possibility that they're going to move into stuff. It's not going to be chasing cardboard anymore. It's going to be chasing stuff. He's starting to infringe on baubles, baubles and miscellaneous crap. I don't like it. Eric. I'm deeply concerned there's going to be a war. Oh. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stoke the fires war. And then I'm going to laugh. And then, and then commentate on said war. That's all I'm saying. Think about it.
While you watch it.
Yep. Bob Lewis here. I think people feel the same way about Carlos. Did I sell out concert tours? Amazing. Deep down, we're all Swifties. Look at you, name.
No, that's not true.
Eric is the biggest Swiftie I know.
No,
he was singing Taylor Swift songs before we even started. It was crazy.
No, yet again, you are completely wrong, and I don't understand why you have to be so mean.
Wow, how dare you? How dare you, sir? I got questions. Is all I'm trying to say. What questions, Brad? I'm not even sure where to go from here. I'm thinking of just like throwing mayo at the screen and running. It'll be like a smoke bomb, but better. Just saying, throwing it out there. Just making sure we cover that.
Did you see today, too, on the hockey news front, that Quebec Major Junior Hockey League banned fighting officially today?
Well, in fairness, it is Quebec, and they do try to be French. So I'm surprised there was any fighting and just not surrendering.
Well, they just slap each other.
Too soon. Sorry. Moving on. Too soon. Actually, this does remind me of something semi-related. You got the MVP product. I actually saw some breaking of the new MVP product. There's no Connor Bedard stuff in it, but you can pull that the redemption card. You can pull the redemption card that is a Bedard card. And I'm seeing it go for crazy dollars. Like I'm seeing some of those redemptions. I think the record I saw on Instagram, I think somebody bought one of the redemption cards for $951. And I'm like, why? The card literally will not be worth that much. Like I probably after you get it back and everything, like you're not getting $951 out of it. Maybe the first couple, maybe graded like in a 10, maybe a couple here and there. But the somebody else did a comparison, the Connor McDavid, like a similar redemption Connor McDavid, and it was like $150. $951 is asking a lot for the redemption, and then you have to redeem it and wait for it to come back, and then you can do something with it. There, depending on how long that redemption takes, there could be Series 2 by then. You could actually have other cards.
Yeah, it's but like it happens with everything. It's the new hype. It's exciting. People are going after it. I opened tonight 3 boxes of credentials and 3 boxes of metal. The metal hobby.
Oh no! But the AEW medal isn't ready yet, Brad. Not yet. Soonish, allegedly.
I opened 3 boxes and I got I got 4 PMGs. I got this Allen Iverson.
Oh, this is the So this is the one where it's like
Champions,
they cover. Yeah, it's the champions. Yeah.
So PMG Allen Iverson, and then I was going to ask you guys if you guys know who this one, because this is the green PMG, numbered out of 10 of Jamon Dotson. Anyone?
That does sound familiar, but So does it say who he plays for?
No, it just said he played college at Penn State. It's numbered 5 of 10, which is his jersey number. I didn't even look it up. I was going to. I just was like, but that could be a good one. That could save me.
You're saying Jahan Dobson?
Yep. Jahan Dotson. Yeah.
So right now he's playing for the Washington Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Did a quick Google, so at least he's playing in the league.
Okay.
Presumably that, or so says a quick Google search. So allegedly. Bob Lewis here. So hold on here. I will switch the layout back. Bob Lewis with the super chat. Thank you, Bob Lewis. Hashtag Bob Lewis 2024 for YouTube Hall of Fame commish. I'll co-sign on that.
Sign me up.
There is no one else that I would consider more credible to preside over such a prestigious establishment. And I'm being completely serious and not sarcastic in the least. Paul says Washington wide receiver, first round pick in 2022. Thank you, Paul. I dump that right now. He's decent, but rather dump it when the new car smell is still attached. Now, in fairness, be aware that 2 things. Number 1, Paul basically says every player sucks. So that's the first thing. Like literally every player sucks, unless they're wearing leather helmets. If they're wearing leather helmets, then they were good. Everyone after that is trash and weak. Per Paul. But I'll be honest, I would. Like if the green PMG, I think that's cool. But yeah, no, I definitely, I definitely move it on.
It will be listed Sunday night for our weekly auction. That's for damn sure.
For sure. But okay, so let me ask you a question, kind of. And Bob Lewis says, "I'd be impeachable." Oh, you would be impeachable. We've talked about that many a time.
Who would ever?
But I'm willing to co-sign for. Listen, Bob Lewis, as YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame commissioner, I think this is a change we can all get behind. And we don't even need a campaign for that. Just throwing it out there.
Got my vote.
Yep, no doubt. Bob Lewis just had a better campaign than Dustin. Low bar, but facts. Low bar. So I laughed. So I'll touch on this really briefly. We'll touch on it again down the road. Like the whole thing is going to be like months and months and months down the road. Months and months down the road. But yeah, Dustin did a campaign video, semi tongue in cheek, kind of poking fun at it. And I knew he was going to do something. I didn't know exactly what it would be. I did have a little bit of heads up in that sense, but I was like, I want to see this play out. Nothing would give me greater joy. And I was like, fight. And of course, they're all going to be very nice and peaceful now until we get to the heavy campaigning. Then I expect battles in the streets.
I thought Dustin's video was great. Maybe it always makes me laugh.
He did try. Bob Lewis is trying to correct himself. Unimpeachable. Well, we'll see. I don't know if anybody's unimpeachable. He's got the asterisk as well. Very important. But yeah, I was like, we've talked about we'll talk about it more like at the end of the year. Like that stuff isn't until the new year anyway. But yeah, every year I kind of poke fun at that, the whole silliness of that. Some people do take it seriously though, which is kind of frightening. Which is why I'm like, yeah, make a campaign video. I think that's fantastic. I would love nothing more than if he stuffed the ballot box with these YouTube channels no one's ever heard of, but that met the qualifications. The key is, technically, it meets the qualifications. Technically, there's no restriction. So vote away channels we've never heard of that meet the criteria. Let's go.
Is there actually, like, is it a joke or is there actually?
Oh no, it's a joke. It's a joke, but it's a joke. Some people take it seriously.
Right, but it is a real thing. Like, where would I go see who's in the YouTube Hall of Fame at?
Funny you mentioned that. Okay, so I will find the link here.
Bear with me. Bob Lewis.
Yeah, Bob Lewis is obviously in it, no doubt. Like,
yes.
Obviously. I will find the link here and I'll show you. They got a website now. So there's actually a thing. I will include the link in the description to this video. So I'll get that for you folks. That's all I got. That's all you needed, Bob Lewis. That's all you needed, and we appreciate you. As always. And if you wanted a Bob Lewis cameo, you would have seen him in a couple of the national videos. It all comes full circle. So this is the question I want to ask you, related to it. with that product coming out, MVP is a low tier product, but at the same time, it's a tough pull. So it is a card that some people will want. So, and it's technically the first anything Connor Bedard that is NHL related that will be available. Is it something that you would be interested in, like, pursuing if you could find it for like a legitimate price, not like what some people are paying for, if you could get your hands on it?
Yeah, not me.
You're gonna hold out for the Series 2.
I am, and you know what? Honestly, I think I'm going to be priced out of the whole Bedard sweepstakes. Like I think he's going to come out so well. He is. He's going to come out so high and so hot. I think I'll just be buying and selling them and flipping them. I don't think I'm going to hold.
Okay.
I did that before. I did that with. There's certain points that I even Crosby. Like at one point I think, I didn't even have a Crosby card. If you go back 4 or 5 years ago. They got to a point where I just was like selling them. So now I started to build up some more, which is good. But
I don't have Crosby cards. I don't have Ovechkin cards. I don't have McDavid cards. I don't have Bergeron and Marchand and Bruins. It's like, no, I'm not. I have to just stay in my lane. I cannot say, oh, I'm going to start collecting this now too. There's only so much money. And as much as I would love to get a Patrice Bergeron rookie card, it's nope. Stay in your lane.
That's what I was gonna kind of ask, because
and go buy more of these.
Yeah,
the first 3 point in the NBA, he was good.
Yep.
He was good to say. But what I was gonna say is that with a lot of these newer guys, there's the hype factor. There's always people wanting to jump on the bandwagon and try to see if they can catch somebody on the rise and everything. But I think what the problem ran into, and it's part of the conversation, I won't spoil the conversation that'll air sometime next week, but one of the points that I made, and I've made it here before, is that with a lot of long-time collectors, it's not that I'm not interested in the new stuff, because I actually am. I do actually care about the new stuff that comes out. It interests me, but I'll pick and choose my things that I'll go after, because it's like, I only have so much bandwidth. I only have so much time, and I only have so much money. So it means that, so I can buy something from one of the things I'm already working on, or I can just chase in this other crazy thing. It's like, well, it's cool that they made another thing, but I don't need an Ovechkin card. I don't need a Crosby card or whatever. The only time I would probably buy one is if for some reason I felt it was undervalued, but it would almost be with the intention of flipping at some point, even if it's not like today, tomorrow, or a week from now. It'd be like, oh, I'll hold it, and if it appreciates, I'll pull it out of the box and time to sell. But it wouldn't be like PC to keep, because it's like, well, what do I just need a Crosby card just for the sake of having a Crosby card if I don't really collect Crosby? It would just be sitting in a box. That's all it would be doing. That never made a lot of sense to me in the long run. If you're talking collection, it's cool to have, but some people want to do that stuff, but it's on them.
I agree with you, and I agree with Eric. I think there's only so much you can have. Like, you got to pick your space.
Here's your answer to your question, Brad. Check it out. We got the illustrious members. Look at this. Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. And I think it's based on classes. So here you go. Let me see if I can scroll through. And I will find, let's see if I can
I need
pull
to
this
see
up.
me some Bob Lewis.
Yep, that's what we're going for, man. We're going to go see if we can find Bob.
There he is.
Bottom row.
Lewis. Yeah, we got him there. Perfect. There you go. So you got 2020 class, Bob Lewis. And there you got a link to his YouTube channel. That is the illustrious. That is the hallowed halls, the hallowed virtual halls, Brad, of the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Think about it, buddy. Say we got Andy. She buying me refractors. We know some of these folks here. Like, you can scroll through and see it for yourself. There it is. Those are the folks that are currently in, including Brad here. Brad8671. We've had him on the channel as well. A couple of different folks here we've had on the channel. So that is a real thing, and you can see that at yschof.com. I'll include a link in the description. Now you know. Now you know. Orlando says, you are legit, Bob. Bob is legit. Too legit to quit. And I want my people at club that have me as a member. Fair defects. Bob Lewis. What? I had no idea this existed. Now you know, Bob. Now you know. You should tell your mom.
Freaking Bob. It's so funny.
Eric's mom knew about it. You got to get on. You got to get it with the program, buddy.
My mom knows everything about everything.
There you go. There you go, man. By the way, for all the jokes we made about it, I haven't had the chance. I at some point, I want to make like a concerted effort before the end of the month to go actually buy some freaking crumble cookies. I haven't been able to. I got to see if they actually will deliver, because it's like I actually want to get. I was thinking about that earlier today, because I actually went to the grocery store and I bought cookies, and then I was thinking like, I should see if if the freaking crumble will actually deliver to me. Not we know they'll deliver to Eric, but I'm talking about like here. Like, Brad, I got questions. I got to find out if the crumble guys will actually deliver, because it's like, after all this talk, after all this hype, I got to know, Brad. I got to know. How is Kathy? I've been away a couple of weeks. How's Kathy doing there, Eric?
On a serious note, she is doing absolutely fantastic.
Good.
She had her last physical therapy appointment today, and for the first time in probably 2 years, my mother was asked, on a scale of 0 to 10, what is your pain level? And for years, the numbers have been going up to the point where it was off the chart just a month ago. And today, for the first time in 2 years, she said 0. So it's a big day. She is just doing absolutely fantastic. And to celebrate, I am taking her on a small vacation next week. So next Friday, I'll probably be coming to you from a bathroom again, like I did a couple of years ago on a vacation.
Classing it up. I like it. I
was stuck in the bathroom while the people slept. So, yeah, we're gonna, my wife, my daughter, and myself and my mother are gonna go on a
to Halifax
little vacation up in New Hampshire.
You're gonna send Eric to go shovel some water. Hey, Eric, come on! Yeah. Get to work. Get to work.
Listen, if Brad, if Brad had called me and said I need help, I would have been there.
Absolutely.
And Brad, rest assured, if you had said you needed help, I would have sent Eric. No questions asked, no hesitation. I would make him available 24/7 with whatever you need. I think I told you as much by text. I go, if you need anything that I can make Eric do, done. Consider it done. No questions asked.
So, just on a quick moment of seriousness, and then we'll get back to total ridiculous crap.
Whatever this is.
Thanks, Name, for asking. I appreciate it.
There you go. There you go. Let me ask a card related question. I'll open it up to chat as well. Like today, like the last couple of weeks, we did the national stuff already. I touched on it really briefly with Brad because he had been there. I wanted to make sure we covered, at least asked the question. Basically, what do you guys want to talk about? Like I had like I said, I had my fun with the watch drama, and I will be back watching more videos. I assure you this weekend, because I know the dude will do something. Whereas Kenny has failed me and not lit himself on fire, despite promises. I was promised things. Despite that, Golden Touch Season 2. Does he light himself on fire now? Now? Promises. Despite this, Anthony Farrer, that dude might actually light himself on fire. He might do it just for attention. It's like, it's in play, is all I'm saying. It is in play. I have faith, I have confidence.
I need that show to come back on, because the friggin' coolest sports memorabilia I think I've ever seen was in the cliffhanger at Karl Malone's house with all the uniforms and autographs.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Post Malone.
No, I don't need any more face tattoo guy. I'm sure there's a way to look it up.
Listen, Mike Tyson is a nice man when he's on his meds. Stop making fun of face tattoo people, Eric. What do you got against face tattoo people, Eric?
Yeah, he was not on his meds when he got that tattoo. And if you remember, he got it just before a fight where he was going to get punched in the face. He was not on his meds when he got that tattoo.
Well, if the next time you fight the raccoon, you can try that. You can do a face tattoo that says "Don't hurt me." You could give it a go.
I think the raccoon should get a face tattoo, and then
I don't know. I'm sure you've heard they were streaming the show on the big screen at their booth. I have no doubt. And they did, from what I understand, they did get renewed for season 2. So your cliffhanger might come to pass. So we might find out more about that.
I'm sure I could look it up and find out how the auction went, or what the final details were with the Karl Malone stuff. But I was hooked on that part of it. There was a lot of other stuff. I was just like, this doesn't interest me. But to see all that Dream Team stuff and the way Malone had it preserved and shown at his home I thought that was awesome. That was
So
just.
did you? But do you know? Like, I didn't know this. I don't know. I heard it somewhere. Maybe Carlos. I don't know if you were talking, but Karl Malone is. I watched a one-sided interview, maybe, but he's not a good person. He was a terrible human being.
Are you saying he's not a swell fella?
I had no idea that.
I don't know all the details because I haven't concerned myself to investigate. But I've heard a couple of things, and from what I hear, he is not a swell fella.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I was shocked. I don't know why. Maybe it was the perception growing up, being younger. He was in Utah with John Stockton. They were like these guys and played for the Dream Team. And I was actually, I'm going to investigate that a little more.
Sure.
Yeah,
no, but it does play into the point that I was making. Look, part of the reason I brought up the whole Timepiece Gentleman thing was, number one, because it was entertaining, and I literally went down the rabbit hole the last couple of days and it entertained the hell out of me. I thought I would share. If someone else is interested in such things, now you know what you can go looking for. Go as far down the rabbit hole as you like, or just do one or two, get a little surface information, and you're good. And there's whole Reddits about this. Like, people have written tons about it. So, and he even faked the robbery. Like, this dude is fascinating. It's been a while. I was like, what? It's like, how much did I miss? Oh my goodness. So anyway, but part of the reason I made the point was I said, buy the dealer. But part of it is also, just because somebody is nice to some people, you can't just assume then that they're a good person. And this is a problem. Bring it back to the hobby. This is a problem the hobby has. How many people are like, oh, well, I didn't know they were like that. Well, because all you've done is have surface base level conversations where it's like polite conversation. It's polite small talk. You cannot make sweeping generalizations about a person based on that. Like, you don't know if they're a good person or a bad person. The not so fella thing is a joke and a nod to Brett. Oh, but I collect him because he was a good player on the field. I've never co-signed on any of his activities outside of it because you can't. Yeah. And he's done it, and he's done pretty much all of it to himself. So it's like, this is it. That's all it is. I don't know what to tell you. But can I still collect the cards because I enjoyed watching the player play? Yeah. For some people, that's a deal breaker. For some people, it's not.
I mean, yeah. I thought Malone was probably the most physically dominant player of his generation. I mean, there was no stopping him. And I think it wasn't until Shaq showed up, when Shaq was really in shape, that maybe a more dominant player came in. But I mean, the mailman was unbelievable.
Yeah. And that's where I always ask the question about, can you separate from a collective perspective? Some people will have to separate the person from the athlete, and if you can manage that, then great. If you can't, and it's a deal breaker, totally understand. That's completely legitimate. It is what it is. Sometimes it's like, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was trying. Never mind. Sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought about something.
No. We've got time, Brad. Go ahead. Now's the time. Now's the time to interrupt.
Now I got it. So, Joe Sakic, 89-90 O-Pee-Chee. Remember, I had 150.
Yes.
150 rookies. Me and Sherry, we picked out the best. We had a little poll. I sent in 18.
Okay.
That I said they're perfect in my eyes. The verdict has come back.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 PSA 8s and 16 PSA 9s. The elusive PSA 10 Joe Sakic. I quit now. I'm never submitting those stupid cards ever again.
Can I ask you a question? I'm being serious.
Yeah.
Being serious for a moment. You said that these were Sakic O-Pee-Chee cards.
Correct.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are in the chat. That is the only year that 89-90 set, his rookie year, Brian Leach's rookie, that Topps had a smaller print run and are actually more desirable.
Correct.
So
that was the argument for a long time. I think Bobby and I had a conversation about this. It might be closer than people think, but the statement has been that the Topps one was the more expensive one because of that perception.
Why wouldn't you? And when they say smaller print run, we're talking like 6 million to 4 million or whatever. It isn't like there was 7. why wouldn't you try to get a 10 in the tops? Wouldn't that really be the grail for a Sakic rookie?
No, I only collect OPG.
You're a racist.
I think that's a new angle we haven't explored yet.
From 68 up, I only collect OPG. So it's fun. Like, so since I started grading cards in 2000, I sent in, and so what I do is I keep the. Here, let me grab this box. This is fun. So
Thank you, James.
So I got every rookie card from 51 to 89. That means something to me of the player.
Yeah. You skip Boubior because no one likes him. Go on.
Exactly. So when you go through my box, like, and if I get a higher grade and I grade it myself, there you go. Then I'll keep it. So I have a PSA 9 Joe Sakic. So that means in 23 years of grading cards with PSA, I don't know if I sent in 200 Sakics. I've never got a PSA 10, or I would have put it in my collection. That's kind of how I operate. So like Bob Probert, PSA 10. Wendell Clark, PSA 8. So I've never got higher than an 8 on Wendell Clark.
Okay.
Patrick Waugh, PSA 9. McGinnis, PSA 9. Lemieux, PSA 9. So you kind of, Cam Neely, 10s. I had multiple 10s of Cam Neely.
Have you considered, Brad, just having like, you were at the National. You could have had like a private audience with Nat, walked over to the back room and come back with 11s. Like you could have, this could have been like fixed. You talk to a guy about a thing, no names, allegedly, come out with 11s.
You got any more of those Neely 10s laying around?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's it. I've sold them. But the reason why I went back on the Sakic, I swore I would never submit them again. I don't know if I already told you guys this when we talked about it. But I had a customer sent in 25 of them, and he got back 10 or 11 PSA 10s out of 25. So I was like, oh man, I got to go all in on this. So I bought 150 from a guy, and they were all the good ones. So I didn't know this either. I just found this out from another card guy in Canada. So O-Pee-Chee, what happened was they started to make the vending cases, which they always did.
Yeah.
But the demand was so high that they subbed out to an actual higher end printing company to print vending cases for them. So if you get an O-Pee-Chee vending case from O-Pee-Chee, the actual O-Pee-Chee factory, it's all mixed up. I think there's 23 sets in a vending case. So you get 23 of each guy. But like the sacks, they'd all be mixed up. They're not in order. They're just everywhere. So if you get a vending case from the other print factory that did them, they're grouped in twos. So you'd have 12 Joe Sakics and 11 Joe Sakics. And you can see the quality of them. Like they're actually beautiful, beautiful cards. So in these 150 that I got from this guy in Prince Edward Island, they were all from these good vending cases. Like they all looked perfect. Anyway,
but the good vending cases didn't yield you any 10s, Brad.
None. I completely suck.
Maybe you should just move on to like stockpiling Josie rookie cards. Like just go in a completely different direction. That's the time. Yep, card cut cases. Mine are all like that, Brad. Thank you, James. So what I was going to ask, and you kind of indirectly answered my question, Brad, so it was actually a good start. And I wanted to open this up to the chat too. Like I said, we're just going to hang out and just chat hobby stuff tonight. Curious if anybody picked up anything new. Anything interesting? Anything new? I'll share a couple of cards as we're going along here. I'll share some. I grabbed some stuff on ComC. I grabbed some stuff on eBay. I shared a couple of the unlicensed cards that I picked up for a video just to explain an idea, a concept. Again, I go back to what I said always before. It's not my job to sell anybody on it. But the fact that Brian Gray had done the interview with Geoff, it was like perfect timing because I was able to pull some clips of what he was saying and then kind of transpose them over to some cards that I had picked up. So I was like, all right, let me blend some of what he's talking about into this conversation. So this one I just picked up earlier today. So that's the green PMG. Got my guy Jamie Ben. At this point, like honestly, I shouldn't be paying more than $10 for this stupid crap. But the green PMG is at a 10, so I was able to get it. I think I worked out the deal with the guy for like $60 or $70, which again, at the end of the day, is higher than I'd like to play. But I have the autograph version as well. So I have the autograph version and now the regular PMG. I'm going to put them together. So I figured I would pick that one up. I figured I'd spend the appropriate amount. Plus, I had just sold a card on ComC, so I had credit. So I basically used the credit to buy the card. So it worked out nicely for me.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, and I've also grabbed a couple more cards for the 53 Bowman color set, so I'll share those. Like I said, I'll share a handful here and there.
I haven't
Almost
shown,
as good. Almost as good.
I have not shown my Gretzky PMG in a while, so I wanted to make sure that I brought it back. It's probably been, I don't know, 6 months or more since I've shown it. So I
Wow.
wanted to make sure everyone got a chance to see this legendary card here, Gretzky PMG green. Very exciting.
Amazing. By the way, speaking of, I did talk about this previously. I got my first card back through the ComC CGC integration because you can submit the cards there to get it from CGC now. Now that they've swapped over from CSG, now you can get the CGC. I got my first one back. Actually, pretty nice card. I'd had it on my ComC account for a while, and it was nice to have it. I got back a CGC 10, 2013 Topps Finest Nolan Arenado refractor.
Oh, nice.
It looks crisp. It looks nice in the holder. It looks pretty crisp.
Man,
I love the refractor design. I like anything where you got the silver foil is going to look good in it. Right now, I've got it for sale on ComC. I may just pull it in just because it is a nice looking card. And Arenado is a guy who will probably end up in the Hall of Fame. And this is his rookie card, and it's a nice looking card with the whole holder. And we got it in the new CGC holder. So, like I talked before, I've got cards with Brad at PSA, and I'm waiting for some updates on those. We'll see. I'll keep bugging him now in the next couple of weeks. But I've got those cards for one purpose and some pieces.
Give me one more week. Give me one more week.
All right. But I've got some PC cards for that. But this is handy if you've already got the cards in the system. And now you can do PSA through this as well. So now you have that option. If you want to go that route, you can do it directly. So it is cool. I just think in that holder, the refractor looks good stuff.
I do have the corrections on the Britt Baker and the other card. I have those here too, Carlos.
Score. I love it. Yeah. So they got the correct labeling on it now. We're good. Good stuff. Love it. Sherry, good evening.
Shout out to the boss. Hey Sherry, how you doing?
Yeah. Good evening, Sherry. We got permission here. So Sherry has allowed you to show the pickup from the National.
She picked up a big card. This was a big.
All right. All right. What do you got?
Actually, this is the most money I think she ever spent on a card.
All right. So we got Keep It Real. Is that Kim Kardashian?
It is Kim Kardashian.
Okay. So who produced that one?
This is Leaf.
Oh, so it is Leaf. Okay.
Yeah.
So appropriate to what I was discussing the other day in the video, actually. Funny enough. With Leaf and their, don't need a license. They just basically get celebrities and stuff like that.
Now,
that's
is
a nice one.
Autographed? I had a hard time seeing
it. Is autographed. Yeah. It is autographed.
So it's fine. So we've started. Me and Sherry are both working on non-sport, like a collection together. Mm-hmm. But we want only on-card autographs. But Kim Kardashian does not have an on-card autograph. So, and Sherry's, that's her favorite. So, so I think if they don't have an on-card autograph, then you know what? Maybe you have to get a cut signature or a sticker.
Well, I think it's part of the so that was kind of the point. The point of that video was, and the best part is that I had to emphasize it a couple of times just to make sure people got it through their heads. I'm not trying to pitch you on unlicensed cards. At the end of the day, you got to do whatever makes the most sense to you. For some people, it's a deal breaker, no chance, don't want it under any. Totally get it, totally fine, no worries. But I think there is value there for some stuff. There is some stuff that you can get at a decent price. And Brian Gray does make a lot of deals with a lot of celebrities and stuff. So it's one of those things they can get their hands on it. I showed a Joe Montana autograph that I got. I got Joe Montana autograph for $40. I looked at the autograph and compared it to a bunch of the ones that Topps has done and stuff. It's like it's the correct auto. It's a Joe Montana auto for $40. And I got my pick of the litter. I got to choose from different designs. Some of them have gone as cheap as $25. That's the guy who won 4 Super Bowl. He was the GOAT before, Brad's guy. The faux GOAT. But like 4-0 in Super Bowls, he was the GOAT before. He was the dude. And like $25, $40, $50 like for an autograph, sticker or not, that's pretty good. It seems good to me, especially if you like the design on the card.
I know.
So what do you got there? Oh, you got a Stone Cold. That's nice.
Stone Cold auto.
That's cool with the picture. I think the picture's a good choice.
That's what I bought this on eBay about a month ago, anyways. But it took forever to get here. And but it's an awesome, to me, that's the picture of Stone Cold.
Yes, I agree.
With the beer coming out.
Brad, how does he sign it? Does it say Steve Austin? Does it say Stone Cold? What does it say?
Yeah, so it's definitely Austin is there.
I think it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think he signs the whole thing.
He does. Stone Cold. Yeah, it is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah.
Does he throw a 316 in there or?
I've seen cards where he has actually. Not on that one, but I have seen cards where he'll throw in an inscription of some kind. Which is a nice bonus, but if you're already getting Stone Cold Steve Austin, you're already getting a pretty full autograph. But there's a lot to try to fit in to write all that stuff out.
Oh yeah.
But credit to him for at least using it. Yeah, I get Dufex of Life's Point, but look, if Sherry, and by the way, good evening, Sherry. And I think if Sherry likes the card, I'm good with it. Like, and Leaf does make some good celebrity cards. Again, if it's something you're into. If it's not, totally get it, 100%. Good evening, Victor.
Hey, Victor.
But that's one of those things where I just looked at it from a value perspective. I thought I don't want to buy like 10 Joe Montana autographs. I'm not interested in that. But I was like, well, Joe Montana was a great quarterback. And I got to see the tail end of his Super Bowl run and some of his attempts in Kansas City where he had a good run there in the playoffs that one year. And again, he was the GOAT before. He was like, at that point, he was 4-0 in Super Bowls. He was the undisputed guy at that time. Since then, he's been passed by some other guys, and stuff happens. But it's hard to beat 4-0 in Super Bowls. Like, he never lost one. Every single one he competed in, he won. And I think that's pretty special. And it's almost like he's been forgotten, which is kind of weird. And again, you think about what it would cost you to get a Joe Montana autograph at a show. It's more than $40. I was like, all right, I'll take it. But if you don't like a sticker autograph, I get it. 540 flips. Eric still eats crayons.
No, listen. It is getting closer. My private investigator believes heavily that this might be someone I know that is trolling me. We don't know who yet. We still know it's East Coast, but we're gonna catch you. So you want to come on here every Friday and play this little game, fine. But we're getting close.
What worries me is ever since we saw 540 flips, I feel like, this is almost like a Dustin and Brad, the comeback card investor situation. I think 540 flips might know the whereabouts of Bobbles, and I'm worried. I'm very concerned.
Where was Bobbles?
Allegedly.
I hope he's
Just
doing
saying.
well.
4-0 Bradshaw. Yeah, Terry Bradshaw was also the other one, but nobody really thought of Terry Bradshaw as the GOAT. Like, but he 4-0 in Super Bowls. That is 100% true. He is the other one. So, like, for playoff success, you can't deny it.
Yeah,
but that's
lost 3. What a bum.
It's terrible. Just terrible. And if Marshawn Lynch had run the ball, he'd have been 3-3. Anyway.
There's another thing I picked up.
Kentucky Derby 1973. All right. What is that?
A ticket stub from the Kentucky Derby in 73.
Oh, okay.
Which was, anyway, Secretariat's Triple Crown, obviously, in 73. So I thought that would be a fun little project. I said, I'll buy this one. And it's like I think there might be 5 or 6 graded higher than this. This is a PSA 5. So I said, oh, that's great. I'll do that. And then I'll pick up the other 2 from the other 2 races. And
that's cool.
I think I checked, and I don't even know if you can get, there's any in existence of the other 2 races. So it was kind of a buy that I started.
You might have to make it yourself, Brad. You might have to go find it and then take care of yourself.
Right. As a collector, like, that sucks when you want to do something and then the dream was over.
All right. Fair enough. Will says, Carlos, did you enjoy Ty's masterclass on authentication? I did. When I think of expertise on authentication, I think of Ty from Chasing Cardboard. No one would know more. Especially if it pertains to the Rock autograph. I go to subject matter experts in these matters. It's the same thing. Like, we've seen this before. Expertise. Eric?
Yes.
Expertise in various matters. We got Ty and Chasing Cardboard guys on Rock autographs. We got the 2021, 2022. Yes. No, 22, 23. Boston Bruins, Stanley Cup champions. Wait, no. Got out of the first. No, didn't get it. No, didn't do that either. Hindenburg type disaster. Subject matter expertise. Subject matter expertise. Let me tell you. Man. Woo.
Oh, the humanity.
It really was. It really was. Stuke. 2000 for Montana at the National, if it was also a braid item. Yeah. I did see that, and I said, obviously. He's like, you want me to sign on this thing with this ham and egger? Fine, $2,000. Not my goat. It's like, Joe, really? Not my goat. Eric Swetzer is empty as the tag booth of the National. Jeez. Iron X Private Investigator is Ace Ventura. He wishes he could get that kind of quality.
I don't have that kind of cash.
Robert Roy, hello. Absolutely. Good evening. But Bradshaw was in the Cannonball run. I don't think that's going to be quite enough to get him to GOAT status. I appreciate the attempt. Just got home. Evening, gentlemen, and Eric. Thank you, Josh. Bobbles and Ball Cards lives. He has escaped out of 540 Flips basement.
Hey, buddy.
540 Flips. Careful, Eric. You're going to sprain your neck. I think. how suspicious they would come at back to back. How interesting.
I'm telling you, I just want to block him. I'm going to report him to YouTube police, and he is going to be banned from the YouTubes.
Did you guys watch the guy that had a I'm going to say PSA 7 Kareem Abdul rookie, and he cracked it out of the case, took it over? Like when I watched,
wasn't that card porn? Wasn't that
Is
card
that
porn?
what it was?
I thought card porn did something like that. Well, yeah, with the Kareem rookie.
And
I'm
you
pretty
see
sure it's card porn.
Kareem, and he's got it on the table. He's kind of like just muffling it around a little bit. Like,
But did you hear that
different.
apparently Kareem was charging Kareem's agent was charging depending on the grade that the card was. So they had like a tiered, which is total bullshit. Like in first place, a premium for the rookie card is BS anyway. But but if y'all agree to it ahead of time, so be it. Like if you all agree to it ahead of time and it is known, it is posted, like I may not agree with it, but at least you're agreeing to what you're agreeing to. But you're talking about like a dynamic thing. You've got a third party that is assessing your card's grade to determine where on this spectrum. Wait a minute. That's some serious bullshit right there, because it's like, yeah, what's your incentive not to overgrade the thing? Oh, this is easily a 7. It's torn in half. You liar. I don't know. Like I'm not into that, man. The dynamic pricing based on grade, that's complete BS. I can't get behind that.
No,
I remember I took a card up to the Toronto Expo for a friend of mine to get graded a Bobby Orr rookie, and but it was $800 is what Bobby Orr charged to sign the card.
Right.
And the card was a PSA 1. Eric, that looks really nice.
it is nice. I've had it for a while.
It's almost printed on both sides. Not quite.
It's real nice.
It's right beside his Folex. It's right beside it.
I have 5 of them.
Dave says he'll handle all the allocation. They'll sell everything as decorative items. Love it. Yeah, Kareem took an hour and a half nap while customers waited in line for him to come back. Is he that ill? He might be, actually. My understanding is he's not in amazing health. That's my understanding. I haven't looked into it too closely.
He's older, guys.
He is. By the way, I was just curious. I just wanted to mention it as well. I did also kind of open it up. I did open it up to the chat. I was curious if anybody had picked up anything recently, because we got folks that were at the National. I know they've got their videos and stuff, but I just wanted to throw it in case anybody else wanted to share, and I'll share some stuff as well as we're going along. But I did want to open it up to if anybody in the chat wanted to share anything they had picked up. We got folks here sharing, so I wanted to make sure everybody had their opportunity. 540 Phillips says Montana charges $1K for his rookie to be autographed. That is hefty.
That is.
Did I mention $40? It's a nice looking card. It was $40.
Yeah.
No, that's just.
I like, honestly, that stuff, it really bothers me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like there's a point where I don't know. I just think I these prices on autographs, it's getting nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure.
I'm paying. So Bobby Orr's doing a signing. I'm not a part of it. I'm not going to get to meet him. It's a private signing. You have to send the stuff in. And I'm getting a friend of the promoter deal of $125 an autograph. Now, if I wanted to get a stick done or a 16 by 20, if something was autographed by other players, the price all goes up. And I was told no. Now, it doesn't matter for me. I mean, I was kind of thinking about maybe getting this signed, right? Because that'd be somewhat cool. No rookie cards. So they're not even an option to get rookie cards done.
Right.
And
I bet you though, if you went and told him, "I'll give you $1,000 to sign this card," Bobby Orr's going to say, "Yep, absolutely," and stick the money in his jeans and walk away.
he likes his money. I'll tell you.
Look, I can't blame him for that. Somebody's got to pay for consignment watches. I mean, go on. Sorry. Continue.
But that is true. I paid $800 Canadian. Well, it was Canadian though, so $600 US for him to sign a PSA 1 or authentic. Like it was garbage looking or rookie to get signed for.
So basically, so in other words, an or rookie. Go on.
Yeah.
You didn't have to put the qualifier. We understood what you were saying.
Yeah.
Bobby Hull was signing this for like $20.
Yeah, Bobby Hall signed a lot of stuff with it. Like I showed that big old Canada Post, like the enlarged postage stamp, the lithograph.
Yeah.
That was at a Canada Post thing, and all you had to do was buy the lithograph. That was the promo at Expo. This is years ago now. But you literally buy the lithograph. If you buy it while he's there, he would literally sign it for you. It was part of the deal. You could walk right over and lithograph and sign it, and I still got it to this day. There were a lot of good deals like that back then. So name here saying no pickups for me. Waiting for some auctions to end this weekend on eBay. Totally fair.
I hope you lose them all.
There you go. Pleasant spirits. I love it. No from the National, but I got a 48 complete set of Cleveland Indian picture pack with Satchel Paige. Nice. And with the original Manning envelope. I like it. I think it's fair.
That's awesome.
But it's a shame about it's a shame about that price point because I showed it in the video, but I'll quickly grab it here again just to show. But like this is what I'm talking about. And it's Leaf. And the point that I made about it, by the way, this is an unlicensed card. But Eric, where's the logo go on this picture for Joe Montana? It's on the side of his helmet.
You're right.
So like, what angle are we looking at? Can you see the logo? He's facing you. So like this image, they didn't have to airbrush anything. They didn't have to crop it out. Like it's just the angle of the image. And I showed an example of a licensed card where Joe Montana's looking in the same direction. It's the same concept. It looks the same. And it's like, but that one is licensed. So I was like, well, the design on this is perfectly nice. It is a sticker autograph, but it's got a spot there for the sticker. $40.
Yeah, but you know, he's doing sticker autos for licensed high-end stuff too. So what's the difference?
Yeah, you have to kind of back it up a little bit.
I
You have to
can't
back it
see
up for a
that.
little bit. I basically just comes off as a big white.
Just,
So this is the ball that remember I told you the story of Montana at the celebrity dinner. Threw the ball from the other side of the room to me, and it hit me square in the belly, and it stuck there, and I caught it. And I raised it in the air. He signed it, but the autograph's pretty much faded now. Like it's all that's why you can't see. But it says, "Too bad, great catch, Joe Montana." He was awesome guy.
No, for sure. But the reason I used the reason, Eric, in the video that I used that analogy is I said, okay, this is a sticker autograph of Montana out of 5. The design on the card looks nice. I compared it to a select licensed card, which is a sticker autograph out of 5. I made it as apples to apples as I could, and I took 2 pictures, which one is licensed, one is unlicensed, but he's facing you with a helmet, so you can't see the logo anyway. And the only difference is the Leaf one doesn't put 49ers. That's all they did to get around it, and they were able to provide you a sticker auto.
To get that card for $40, I would have gotten it.
Yeah. And that was just my thought. It was like, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not trying to pitch anybody on it, but I'm just looking at the value proposition and being like, seems good to me.
An auto is an auto, baby. It does, you know, if you collect autos, an auto is an auto. That's it.
Yeah. I just stuck with the concept of I tried to make it as apples to apples as I could, just to see what I could come up with, and it turned out because the select one I think went for $240. So $240 for the select license, $40 for the unlicensed. We got a 6-to-1 ratio going on here. Like it's a big difference.
I'm all about spending the $40 to get the same auto. Thank you.
Yeah. So Stu says got a Montana free at training camp in River Falls, Wisconsin during his Chiefs stay. Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice. Good evening, Rick. Vintage Oddball Cards here. Best pickup was a Matty, Ruth, Garrick, and Cobb. I'm broke.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get you into the watch consignment business, Rick. Don't worry.
Yeah, we
I know a guy.
That.
I know a guy. I packed my first one-on-one printing plate out of Goodwin Champions, or pulled, I guess, first one-of-one printing plate out of Goodwin Champions. Hey, good on you. I don't think I've actually pulled a one-of-one before. Mind you, I don't open a ton of product, but I don't think I've actually successfully pulled a one-of-one. I don't believe I have.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, and you would think if you open even a modest amount of stuff, especially with printing plates. Like printing plates are kind of the cheat code, right? It's a cheap way to get a one-of-one out of a product, but I don't think it's ever happened for me. Still prefer license, totally fair. But you start talking 40 to 60% off, sure. Yeah, and that's all I said. I just said like there is an opportunity, like that Kim Kardashian card is technically unlicensed because you have to sign a contract with Kim Kardashian. That's it. There's no one to license. You're not licensing keeping up with the Kardashians. But as long as you get the signature you're looking for, fantastic. And if that's the big pickup for Sherry from the show, awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
CC, good evening, gents. One possible upside to crazy high auto price on rookie cards. It just keeps rarity in play. It does. If you already had it signed previously, that's true. Possible benefit to those who have the auto rookie currently. That is true. Traded into my Montana auto. IP auto on Topps Chrome rookie reprint. Card looks fantastic. Nice. End of the day, Thursday, Orlando in a tabletop case. Good stuff. Talking about some card pickups of the National. Nice. So that was a fun one. The other fun one was the Hogan. The Hogan one just kind of fell into my lap because I had saved it as a watch item. I was just curious what it would go for. But they had a buy now best offer and the guy came in at 100. And I was like, I looked it up. The last one sold for 150 in auction. For the same color, same numbering and everything. It wasn't the same card, but it was numbered on the same. And I was like, well, that seems cheap then. And it was like a 2-week ago sale. I was like, all right, I'll take it for 100 then. I'll hang on to it. I'll see how long I'll hang into the Hogan Auto, but I don't mind having one for relatively cheap. That's okay. Question for Brad. Good stuff. Looking at becoming a PSA group submitter. Any advice on the process? Seems like I'm being ghosted at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's happening quite a bit, Victor. Not intentional. I think the whole program's just being revamped a little bit. So it's still a work in progress. Again, this is just my personal opinion on it. I'm working on getting some guys approved in Canada now as well. So I don't think it's anything, I don't want to say have patience, but I think you'll start to see some movement soon. Mm-hmm. Especially for someone like you with your track record. I'm sure it can move along quickly.
That's fair. Thank you for the question, Victor. Staggy here says, got my submission back the other day. Pretty happy with the results with the Pokemon, but could have done better with the sports. All right, I like it. Wes wants a cookie plate. We should get a cookie plate. It's not a bad idea. The time is not yet, Wes. I laughed. You missed out on it, Brad. Wes apparently like he tries to play it off like it's like, well, you're the weird one. It's like, dude, it's a plate and a cookie. You have a plate and then you eat a cookie on it. But it's one cookie, and it was like, how many cookies do you want before it's acceptable? What is the threshold of cookiedom to plate ratio?
6.
Obviously, I'm gonna need a ruling. I need an official number. Now, does it change if you have a bigger plate? If you have a very large plate, then is it 12? Do we
it moves up to 10.
Okay, all right. So that's our threshold. 6 on the small plate, 10 on the bigger plate.
You got it on a platter.
Interesting. All right. Well, at least we're getting ruling on that. What's the one thing you want to do before summer turns into fall? It's a fair question. Take a second to think about it. Oh, I wanted to quickly share this. This was a kind of a side pickup. It was related to the National. I don't know if you saw these, Brad. I just wanted to bring it up because this was something I didn't know about too much, but I saw it. Okay, so you got the prominent cuts cards. Now, that's fine, and there are a couple of AEW folks on it, so that's the reason I was keeping an eye on it. But if you notice, these ones are a little bit different. These are the blue ones. I don't know if you caught this, but they have they actually have numbered ones. So those are numbered to 25.
Oh.
So I bought this lot with the Gretzky and the McDavid. So I've got those two coming in. There is a blue version though. So it's like you have to kind of keep an eye open. There's a regular version that is not numbered, and then there's a blue one. I think the entire checklist is numbered, ? But I was able to get both of these in a lot, so I made an offer and they took it. So I'll have that en route. Those ones will be getting flipped back in because I got them for a good price, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But keep an eye out because a bunch of people are probably opening those packs in the weeks after. And if they happen to pull the blue one, you might be able to get a deal. I'm just throwing it out there because those are numbered to 25. It's numbered on the back. And they're blue instead of...
I missed the product that they came out of.
They came out... So these prominent cuts were packs at the National. You have to go to the Upper Deck booth and get the packs from there. That's what I mean. Like, so it's at the National only. It's specifically the packs that Upper Deck had for this. And you could get a set of like the regular set. And I think you had Tiger in it. And they had autographed versions on some of them. But they also had the blue parallel. And the blue parallel is numbered to 25. I think they did the whole set. Something to throw in there. Wes is going with 6. All right. I will make it 1. Cool. So US Sports Cards question was, what's the one thing you want to do before summer turns into fall? So that's kind of an open question. You guys had a moment to think about it. What do you think? What do you want to do before summer turns into fall? Send Eric to the labor camps in the water?
I don't
think about it, Brad.
I don't want to do that.
That's what he wants to do. I see it in Eric's eyes. He wants to pump water.
My answer is so easy for this question.
Is he getting $100 trillion from Post Malone?
No. Seeing Alec Manoah come back up to the Blue Jays.
You should have dumped it on the Pelican kids, Brad. Why? It's like we teach and teach and teach. Calm those fools.
I know.
Oh man. You go and you talk to Geoff, you get him to make a video about how Alex Manoah is the next big thing, and then you con those Pelican boys and get rid of the damn card.
Yeah. Oh, it drives me nuts.
Brutal. Eric, if only I feel bad for Brad because if only someone had warned him that prospecting and pitching is a fool's errand. It's folly.
I know.
If only.
Especially like when you see like Nate Pearson was my first adventure and Alec Manoah was my second adventure. Oh boy.
Brad, let me remind. When's the last Blue Jay pitching prospect that panned out?
I know. We got to go back to Steve, I think.
Roy Halladay, I would consider to be.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Roy Halladay.
Yeah. And for a moment in time, Ricky Romero had a little run there. But the problem is little run. And he was actually pretty good. For that little run there, he's actually quite good. The problem is even the best one, I have to go. Roy Halladay was drafted in like 96, 97. Like, I got to go back a long time. And then after that, you got to go to Steve. Like, it's not an illustrious list. It's the Blue Jays are not particularly great at drafting pitchers. It's like, no. Almost all the good pitchers they've had are somebody else's that they were able to get for a certain period of time. I want to be able to not sweat by stepping outside. Noble. It's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Eric, what do you want to do before summer turns into fall?
So this is a want. It's a great want, and I'm hoping to do it, but I can't definitely do it. What I want to do is drive
Find
up.
out who 540 Flips is?
I am going to find that out.
All right.
And I'm going to knock on his front door and surprise him, let me tell you.
With a box of crumble cookies?
Oh, with one of these.
Yep.
So
that looks so intimidating.
It really does. It does.
Yeah, I'm very scared. So I want to drive up to Quebec City in like the first,
Wait, now you're going to attack Yannick? What the hell, man?
So in the first week of October. No, yeah. I think I have to get the dates right. I think it's the first week in October. Because I don't think it's officially. When's fall start officially? I don't even remember. Is it October?
Isn't it after Labor Day? Oh, hold on. Fall.
I don't even remember. But anyways, my hope is that I can drive up to Yannick's house, stay with him for like four or so days, and get to see and go to Mount St. Anne, where they will have the final round of the mountain bike World Cup championships.
This became infinitely lamer than I ever considered it could be, Brad.
I will be able to see all my favorite female cross-country racing stars race live.
And how many of them will you get Brian Gray to sign for a set that only you will buy?
I will do whatever is necessary to make that happen, because I want my Yolanda Neff cards, and I want my Ann Tauber cards, and I
can't even be sure he's not making up names, Brad. He could literally just be making. He could literally have random number generated names.
I am not. I want my Evie Richards cards. I need these. I need these in my life. So my hope is that if I can get away from my responsibilities here for a bit, and I have a couple of extra dollars so I won't bankrupt myself, drive up there, stay with him, and then go hang out on the mountain for like 4 days in a row and watch the best mountain bike racers on the planet live.
Amazing. The only mountain bike racers on the planet. That's going to be very exciting. Juan Guzman did have a good run. Juan Guzman was actually a good example. That's a good example. And that's early 90s. So but you got to go back to that. He actually won an ERA title. Like, he did have a good, again, short-lived. The problem is almost all the Jays pitchers is like, yeah, you got a window. Like, your window's like this, even if it works out. That's a tough one.
Do you remember? I remember chasing, it was the 90, I'm going to say 92 Ultra. They had these packs that were in a box. Like, they were thicker packs, and they were green, and that's where you could get the blue. What was the one Guzman chase card? It was blue.
I want to say it was like Super Rookies or something. I think I know the one you're talking about, but it was an insert, right?
Yeah, it was in those big like the boxes stood up. Oh man, I would buy so many of those. Look, I don't know if I ever pulled the one. I must have pulled the one Guzman out of it, but they were selling for like $40 or something at the time, or $50 a piece.
Yeah. Well, in those days, you didn't have much, so if you were going to rookie chase, you didn't have that many options.
Yeah,
but that makes sense. But unfortunately, like I said, and Guzman is a good example because he was really good.
Oh yeah.
His issue sometimes that he would slow down his pitching. He was actually better. They almost had to put him on a pitch clock. Here, rookie sensations. Thank you very much. That's the one. Yeah, I knew it was something in that vein. Right on.
Yeah.
Good memory. Good memory. Good call. But yeah, no, like, but when he was like pitching briskly, like if he worked fast, if he worked quickly, he was really good. And then unfortunately, I think he started having some arm trouble. That's the thing with pitchers. That's we were having so in the Discord we were having a debate about the whole Otani thing, and I kind of poke fun at the Otani because every time it's like, oh, he plays for the Angels, he's playing minor league baseball. So does those stats even count? But in fairness, I did warm up to Otani a little bit for undisclosed reasons after the World Baseball Classic. I don't know what it is. Something in the World Baseball Classic warmed me up to him a little bit more. I haven't put my finger on it. It'll come to me. But the thing is that it's really hard to sustain that level of production because what happens? Otani is actually a very good hitter, and he's also a very good pitcher. But over the course of a season, the idea here, he's special as long as he's doing both at a top tier level. If he blows out his arm again, less likely now because apparently Tommy John, apparently you come back a little bit stronger. That's what we talked about a couple weeks ago. So if his arm holds up, that's great. But if you look at him, like his pitching stats started, he started off like out of this world, and he can still have these dominant performances. But the numbers are a little bit more pedestrian this year for the pitching relative. But the hitting is doing extremely well. Like he's leading the league in home runs, and he's hitting over 300. So the hitting is making up for it. The pitching is still good. He'll have these performances that are really good. But if he suddenly can't pitch for whatever reason, then he becomes a pretty good power hitter. And like, is he still special if he's just a pretty good power hitter? Less so, right? It takes a little bit away from his game. The fact that he can do both is what makes him special. As long as he can keep doing those two things, then great. But I would never feel comfortable. If I had Otani stuff, I would dump it off on the Pelican boys right after I get rid of the Manoas. Get rid of the Manoas first, and then the Otani's right after. Keep a couple if you really want to be safe, but then go from there. I just want to shop at AMG before summer ends. There you go. Says you will. Good stuff. He's reading the names of the Norwegian curling team. Facts. Does Yannick know about this? I don't think he does.
I have a feeling I just started a fight between Charity and Yannick, and because I said when the offer was made, I said, and what does Charity think about that? Oh, she'll love it. She'll love it. Now it's like this is the first I'm hearing about this.
Brad, I need a camera inside of Yannick's house when Eric tries to rappel from the ceiling to avoid Charity's detection. Yeah. And he like accidentally gets bound up and tied, and he's just like swinging back and forth. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think Yannick's in trouble.
Yeah. So US Sports Card here says, did you guys catch the Mark McGuire interview, which AJ Przinsky podcast foul territory? I did not. It was a great interview. You should put it on your list. All right. Appreciate the recommendation.
So when it comes to that,
he's not here to talk about the past.
I have not listened to it. And the number one reason I haven't listened to it is I saw a headline that said Mark McGuire says that the steroid, I'm paraphrasing, the steroid guys are being treated unfairly. Well, I instantly went into a rage. I truly believe that if you cheat in professional sports, you should be kicked out of professional sports for life, and you should not get any honors in the future, and you should have all honors taken from the past.
So is this question, just for the sake of consistency on a point of order, Brad, you'll understand where I'm going with this. So after we find out that every cyclist that has ever lived is on some combination of blood doping or steroids, what will be left when it's just a clown on a tricycle winning, dominating all the biking?
On the clown on the tricycle, and I have no problem.
Can we get that on a card?
Yeah. If I have no problem with Lance Armstrong being stripped of everything and banned, and everyone else associated with that stuff, I have no problem with it. And I actually get upset when I see when I'm watching Tour de France coverage and I see known drug dopers and being a part of the telecast. It's like, I don't want to see him on my TV screen. He's a cheat. He's done. He should not be hired by NBC to talk to me about cycling. He cheated. He knows nothing about cycling. He doesn't know the first thing about cycling because he cheated and he didn't feel the pain going up those mountains the way a normal human being would, because he was on EPO, he had steroids, he blood doped, he, all the stuff. And it's like, I don't want to hear from him. He can go pound sand. So if you cheat in sports, you should not be associated with, you should be banned for life and not have anything to do with it ever again.
I love the sheer hardline he's taking on this, Brad. I kind of enjoy it. Like it's a serious hardline. I'm kind of enjoying it.
Yeah, I like the drug dopers. That's my new favorite term right there. The drug dopers. I love it.
Yep.
Listen, I'm deeply disturbed that Eric's vigilantism against this drug taking thing might prevent us from getting more Anthony Ferrer. Doing some more, because he's already admitted to drugs, Eric. He admitted to alcohol. He admitted to drugs. He admitted to hookers. He might have been on performance enhancers and downers and enhancers and downers. It counteracts itself.
What do you think about Pete Rose, Eric?
Pete Rose didn't cheat. He broke rules.
Hey, good one.
I like that he broke it down. So Dave's question is an interesting one. The spitball thing. Because the spitball was legal. And then at a certain point became illegal, and it was grandfathered in, so some players who had been doing it were allowed to keep doing it after everybody else was forced to stop.
I think whatever the rule is at that time, if you break the rules, you should be thrown out.
So were steroids illegal?
That's the murky. So with Major League Baseball, they were not. There were the baseball guys. There was no rules against. You could technically take whatever you wanted because they weren't testing for it, and there was no rule on the books against it.
Right.
That's why greenies and all that stuff. You were able to take all that stuff for decades, and no one questioned it.
Is the NBA right now? Like, is there drug testing in the NBA?
Not
for recreational, but I think you would still get tested for steroids and stuff.
They stopped testing for weed, but enhancements. They're looking for enhancements.
They do in the NBA.
Yeah, so you can test for like performance enhancing, but yeah, if you smoke weeds or something, that is no longer.
Yeah, I think it's a joke that A-Rod and Ortiz are on your TV screens. I think it's a joke. I think it's ridiculous that Ortiz got put into the Hall of Fame. I don't care that he plays for the hometown team here in Boston. He cheated. He should not be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm just taken aback by the previous utterance, because when I went off screen was to get my drink here. I was taken aback by the previous utterance that the cheaters of the cycling, Brad, do not know anything about cycling. What's to know? You pedal harder, hurry hard. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? That mountain, he's gonna have to like pedal. Okay, tell me more. And then he keeps pedaling. Okay, and then he pedals harder. But you don't know anything about cycling.
Going up the Pyrenees and going up the Alps with nothing but your natural ability and hard work feels a lot different than you having the best blood doping doctors in the world working on you, and in a month-long race that every night you go back and get a blood transfusion so you have more oxygen in your blood than the guy racing next to you. So no, those guys don't know what it's like to climb the Pyrenees mountains like a normal human being. So screw them. I want to see them ever again.
I'm fairly confident that I haven't, in fairness, I haven't listened to any of the commentary. I'm not sure that anyone doing cycling commentary is going to be like, guys, when I climb this, totally legitimately, you guys, like I felt burning right around the 10th pedal. I don't think it's that specific, Eric. I still think it's pedaling.
Hold on. Yes, that's the 10th pedal, blah, blah, blah.
It's a little too specific.
Yes, they will sit there and say, back in 93, when I made this climb, it did this, and this is how we did it, and this is what we discussed, before the race of how we were going to attack it, and it hurt going up, and right around mile whatever, my legs felt like they were going to fall, and it's like, shut up, I don't want to hear from you.
Can I get like a live feed of Eric going over there and chastising them for their cheating? He's like, you know nothing. You know nothing about the cycling. It's like, who are you? And why are you eating bugs on the way up here? What is this? Get a jar of mayo. That'll get him go away.
I'm very interested in what Mark McGuire has to say.
Being serious on this, Eric.
What Barry Bonds has to say.
Do you have a favorite cycler, like, of all time? Is there? I'm being serious. Like, who's the greatest cycler of all time? Like, obviously,
Well, you know something? The greatest. It's funny how they want to erase history, but the greatest cyclist in history is Eddie Merckx. He's from Belgium. Okay, it is without a doubt, no question. You know, Lance Armstrong at his peak would say Eddie Merckx was the best. Eddie Merckx was caught cheating, so I can't go around and say Eddie Merckx is the greatest of all time when he got caught cheating.
right.
I can't pick and choose. I can't say, you know, I hate baseball. Everyone knows I hate baseball. I can't say that the steroid users should all be, you know, thrown in, you know, the ocean and drown, and then say, yeah, but I really like this cyclist, so he's okay though. I'm not like that. If I say all cheaters in sports,
The correct answer is the guy at the front of this picture.
Oh yeah.
That's the greatest cyclist ever.
The
guy in the front of this picture is. Did any of the people you named have their own Super Nintendo game, Eric? I think not.
I don't think so, no.
So they suck.
But I'm looking at that old Y-frame bike, and that's just hysterical.
I'm just saying, like, Cannondale Cup, Super Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
Come on, bros.
So, I mean, there's a lot of cyclists that I've enjoyed and been fans of. My heart's been broken many times over their doping, men and women. And, you know, I right now, there's an athlete right now his last name is Vanderpool, and he is, without a doubt, the best cyclist on the planet on anything, cyclocross, road, mountain biking. And it's like, how in the world does this guy win all these races in all these different types of cycling? You know, it's like, I've already been burned. I lived through the Armstrong era. I had the yellow bracelet on for several years. I'm not getting.
Brad, I think I understand.
You know,
It all comes into focus now. After Lance betrayed him, Eric was forever bitter.
I'm not going to, you know, become this diehard Matthew Vanderpool fan, because someday it's a very good chance they're going to find out this guy is this good because he cheated. So let me read
a couple of the comments while we get back to your purity of cycling. 357 said, "Hey Carlos and everyone, good evening. Should Don Manley be in the Hall of Fame? That's going to have to be a no for me. I don't have a problem if they want to try to pitch it, but the problem is injuries kind of did him in." Good evening, Jake. 90s B-ball cards. I climbed the Alps in my rental car. Did you do it on performance enhancers, Dave? So no for Mattingly on for Dave. Philly Joe says no. I prefer Trek bicycles. There you go, Stu. Okay. How would Eric feel about electric bike cycling?
They have the World Championship race was today for e-bikes, mountain biking World Championship.
There's a World Championship for e-bikes?
Yes, it was today.
Brad, it's like every time I think there's no way there's any way this could get lamer. Why? What is the point of having an e-bike championships? It's called a motorcycle, Eric. Get a motorcycle.
A lot of the men and women, not all, but a lot of the men and women who are participating in the e-bike world championships are kind of older and kind of retired from the cycling, you know, the regular tour. It's like what Legends League or something. You know?
So the senior tour. They're saying they're old.
Yeah, for some of them, it is the senior tour. It's like these guys race.
Except for the 21-year-old wonder kid who's using his e-bikes.
And there is a few that it's like, you're 23. I don't know if you need to be doing the e-bike class.
So is there like a percentage or ratio of actual pedaling you're supposed to do?
You still have to pedal, and the downhill parts are still dangerous, but the uphills are a lot easier.
The downhills are gravity, Eric. You don't have to do it.
The downhill is where you crash into trees and break things.
Hopefully, like the only way this sport is going to get. Look, Eric, this is like a NASCAR situation for me. Like the only time I want you to skip straight to the downhill, and I want death.
Yeah,
Like that's all, like that's all I'm trying to make this interesting, and the only hope we have is that someone dies.
uh-huh.
Can we strap explosives onto them to make it like really sweet? Boom!
That would be entertaining, wouldn't it?
It would add some excitement. Brad, I fixed this. I fixed this sport, this lame ass sport. I fixed it. I finally fixed it.
You just need to go and look for the videos of mountain bike crashes. You didn't know bodies could contort the way they do. It's scary.
So what you're saying is Golden Touch. We need to get Kenny to take up some mountain biking, and the hopes and dreams they lift and aspire. So Rick here says e-bikes are for us old farts. There you go.
Yeah, I telling you, I think when I hit a certain age, that's what I will get, so I can continue riding.
Look, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but some months ago, Carlos Sr. may have elicited my assistance in purchasing an item like this, and I might have been the one who put the box in the freaking car. Just in theory, allegedly.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Carlos Sr. wants to be able to like putter around his thing. I'm like, dude, no problem. I'll put it in the back of the car for you. No worries.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think one of those electrical. And by the way, like all the weight's the freaking battery. The batteries are like heavy. Like
Yes.
like it's like 120 pounds. The stupid thing. It's inside the box. I'm like, how much does this weigh? It's like yeah.
You know, it isn't like you can pack a spare when your battery dies because they weigh.
Yeah, you can something like that. I think it gets like 30 miles on a charge, which just to putter around a little bit here and there, just to put around there, but it's more than enough. That's fine, and you can pedal once the battery dies, so it's fine. But so I was like, hey, you want to use it? No problem. I'll put it in the car for you. No worries. But yeah, I don't know. So after we got on our e-biking segment, which I didn't know we were going to have. See, this is what happens when y'all don't have enough stories of recent pickups. We end up talking about the sanctity of e-biking.
I love it.
Well, you know, I think it's great for people who are injured. I think it's great for people who are older.
Who aspire to be injured.
And I plan on getting one in the future when my body breaks down to the point where I can't get out in the woods anymore. And with an e-bike, I'll be able to ride for a little bit longer. So there was definitely one in my future, but hopefully not for another 10 years.
I give it 10 days, Brad. 10 days. Before the body breaks down, let's go. E-bike time. Little e-bike cyclocross. Let's go. Just throwing it out there. I like it. So, folks, you tell me. I'll show a couple more cards here of some recent pickups, but in the meantime, anything else you guys want to chat about? Open topic, whatever you guys want to talk about.
Boys, I got to take off. I got a big day tomorrow, so I'm working and getting things set up for our temp store at AMG, and
Best of luck.
it's been a fantastic 2 hours. And I it's funny, you don't realize how much you miss something until you come back on and get to laugh at Eric and get generally amused. And
Every week we all come back so we can laugh at Eric, hit the like button, charge him for
You
it.
suck. I hate you so much.
It's all we want. So I'll be keeping tabs on you, Brad. We're going to chat later, and then we'll get some stuff updated, and hopefully we'll have some progress on that. And then looking forward to hearing more about the AMC. And I joked about it earlier, but maybe we'll have an actual product that we've joked about endlessly. It's like we'll see. I hear rumblings off in the distance that something might actually be moving on that.
I love
No guarantees, but if it happens, you better believe we'll talk about it. Our long national nightmare will be over at last.
So good. All right, fellas, we'll chat later on.
Sounds good. Have yourself a good night. Take it easy, Brad.
So,
All right, so Blaine here's got
about autographs tonight, and I've been grabbing some lately at really good prices, so that I can't say no to, and I've got some really good ones that I've been excited about.
Okay.
There is Mr. Savardian Spinorama himself on card. My first Denny Savard auto.
Yeah, and that's for Trilogy there. Okay.
Great photo. There's a great photo of a young Denny Savard. And it's on card. I think it's just fantastic. So that's my first one of him. This one shouldn't surprise anybody. I just thought that the photo was like definitely 4K of the mask. I have tons and tons of Jerry Cheever's auto. I just saw him, a couple of weeks ago, had him sign some more stuff. But I just thought that was a real clear, nice looking photo of the mask up close and personal. So I picked that one up. I got Hall of Famer Alex Delvecchio.
Oh, okay, I remember those. Those are like those were like the throwbacks in Heritage, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Topps O-Pee-Chee Archives.
Those
And
are good.
it's the reprint cards. And so I got Delvecchio I picked up. I picked up a Glenn Sather auto on the O-Pee-Chee reprints. And then I think I maybe been talking about these the last couple of weeks. I just can't get enough of these things. I think these are just so great. These trilogy scripts.
Yeah. Those are the ones with the cutouts, right?
Yes. And you know, this is so much better than just throwing a sticker on the front of the card. They cut out the window. It's like a little box frame, you know, and the auto sits inside the front of the card, but you can still put it in a traditional 35-point mag holder. So it's not this super thick card, you know. It just fits in a standard mag holder.
Well, I think the number one thing though with those is that they basically got them to sign Avery labels a lot of times,
yes.
and they basically sandwich it inside the card.
Yes.
But what that does is it means less likelihood of the sticker peeling, like the edge of the sticker getting caught on something and peeling because you've embedded it into the card.
Yeah.
We're still, the jury's still out right now, long term, and Paul's making a good point here about this. The old Donruss foil sticker autos, I find that those ones have held up very well. The jury is still out on a lot of these I'm going to call them technologies, but really it's different types of labels. Which ones are going to stand the test of time? Which on-card autos are going to stand the test of time? Because not all of them will. Of course, everybody prefers an on-card auto, but depending on how slick the surface of the card is, some of those are more prone to fading than some of the sticker ones. Because like the example about Paul's, these old foil stickers, some of those autographs are still crisp as the day they were signed. Like they're super sharp, very, very dark. And for whatever reason, the sticker took to the Sharpie extremely well. And guess what? If that holds up over time, then I don't care if it's a sticker auto. It's a good looking autograph, and it holds up over time. I would have no issue buying those because I've bought cards that look like, and the auto looks bold, it looks crisp, and it's been over 20 years on some of those. So if it holds up, and then some of these on card autos are super faded. Like you can tell they're on their last legs. They're going to be gone.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see.
But
CC says awesome auto cards.
I just love the way these look. I think it's so much better than just throwing a sticker on something. And I have sticker autos. I don't have any on my desk right now, but I do own
technically those are. That's the reason I made the point about it. Like they embedded it, which is smart design, but technically it is.
Yeah, and I talked to Carvin and Billy in a clubhouse room earlier this week about it, and they explained to me that processing cards like this costs more. Mm-hmm. And they went through the whole the process and the whole thing, and because these are from 2003. I
think about those. I think 03. Yeah.
So Carvin was still working at Upper Deck, I think, at this time, if I remember right from what he said. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about the process of them, and you have the label. Now you remembered what these labels are called. I kind of forgot again.
I think they're just Avery labels. Like I'm saying, Avery is a brand, but like effectively, you just think about those. You can buy Avery labels. They're almost paper labels. They have a little bit. They absorb the ink a little bit, which actually is smart sometimes to make sure it's the signature sticks a little.
So yeah, that is exactly what they are. That's what they were calling them, and they were just talking about So it's now you have three parts. You have the Avery label, the back of the card, the front of the card. You have to you have to cut the window out, and put them together. And so instead of just printing a card out and slapping a sticker on it, this is going to cost you, like I think he said, $3 to $5 more dollars per card
Probably, yeah.
to make.
Yeah.
Or-
The other stickers are pretty cheap. Like,
Right.
and they're smaller because if you actually look at the size of the actual, if you take some of the newer cards and look at the stickers are pretty small, so they can fit more stickers on the sheet. Again, it's just logistics. That's how you want to think about it. Less space for the person to autograph, but also you can fit more on a sheet. So there's cost savings there for sure. Let me get caught up on a couple of comments here. Blaine was saying you guys watched the Johnny Football doc. I haven't got a chance to see it. I think it's on Netflix. I want to see it though. I am interested. I am intrigued.
I've
Any of you selling his? Go ahead. Sorry.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
That
I think it'll be interesting.
It is. That's what I'm here. It's very interesting. You really get drawn into it.
Yeah, and he has made the rounds promoting it, so I think some of the interviews around it have been interesting as well. So we'll see. So good for him. Any guys selling his Bowman Padres card? I'll leave that open to the chat. Let me see here. Scroll through. Dufak said I worry about the adhesive over time, which is valid. Totally fair. We really don't know. We're still in for the early sticker autos. We're about 20 years in, so we're gonna find out. It's gonna take time. We'll know for sure.
And you don't have to worry about them on these because
yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's a better design if you want it to last longer. I think it's a smart move because again, embedding it protects it a little bit. So we'll have to see what that looks like in the long run. So 357 says, Carlos, how many wins will the Packers have this season? Based on nothing, I'm just guessing 5. I have no reason to believe they're going to regress a lot. It's a rookie quarterback who we haven't seen really play. And I'm not like a lot of folks who put much stock in preseason. I don't care if he throws 47 touchdowns or 47 interceptions in preseason. The games don't really count. Right. It's when you get to playing full teams, everybody's got all their starters, and you have to play against real defenses for an entire game, and they get to adjust and adapt. Then we'll find out. It's up to the coaching staff to make sure he's prepared, and then it's up to him. He's had the opportunity now to sit and watch and learn and observe. For all of Aaron Rodgers' faults, and he's got lots of them, he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. So if Jordan Love observed anything, learned anything, and he's got any talent at all, they've got some good players who can help. The question is, can he convert it over? Was he able to learn enough? And I kind of hedged my bets. I sold some Jordan Love stuff early while in the lead up to the season. It's hype. We're going to see. And then on the other side of it, I'm hanging on to a few. But a lot of these I've got zero into now. So this is one I keep near the desk, and we'll see. Like at this point, I've got nothing into it. So if he's a bust, I'll keep it as a memento.
How many people, free agents, said, I want to go to Green Bay this year, where in the past, a wide receiver might be like, I want to go play with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. First of all, Green Bay is not a great place to play and live, and it's cold, it's the frozen tundra. It's
wow. Paul's gonna turn on it. He's gonna invite you to the crawl space. Be very careful. Be very careful.
So I mean, would you rather play in San Diego, which is got one of the best constant temperatures on the planet, or play?
Well, the Superchargers have been moved. Now they're in LA.
Yeah,
they're in the new stadium in LA now, so they're no longer the San Diego Superchargers.
But my point is, if you're a free agent, the only thing that was going to get you to Green Bay is Aaron Rodgers. He's not there. Are you going to pack up your family or whatever and go play in this just really difficult environment and play have your quarterback be somebody that you have no idea what you're going to be able to get out of him? You have no idea. Who knows? I'm not doing that.
Well, we're gonna find out. I'm gonna get to a comment. You might not have a choice. CC says best auto longevity might be pencil and quality archival acid free paper. That might be true. There is something to be said because lead on the paper might hold up longer. You might be right about that. 5 wins is a good guess. Packers need time to mature. Yeah, I'm trying to be conservative. There's no reason for me. I'm not going to assume they're going to go 0-17, but I'm also not going to assume they're going to make a playoffs. Like, there's no reason. I have no reason to believe they're. Some of the more optimistic folks are shooting for like 500. They're thinking like, but I'm like, I need to see real games. I need to see him play against real defenses, and then we can begin to assess. And you're hoping that as you go along, he gets better because he gets more time and practice and playing against real teams, real opponents. His coaches have got to do their thing, and if he can execute, we'll see. But I'm going to put almost no stock in it. He could come out of the blocks, have a great game, and then bomb it. That happened with Sam Darnold. He had one nice game on Monday Night Football, and if he sold right at that time, and I did, it was a good time to gone. You can buy it back later if you want to. You can still buy it back later. But yeah, if he has a big showcase performance on a primetime stage, that'd be amazing. I'm just not counting on it. So this was a comment I was looking forward to as soon as you got into the bit about Green Bay. Eric doesn't get invited to the crawl space. He just shows up against his will in a body bag. He's already got you set.
Paul, you are dark, and
He is. He studies serial killers. He studies the work of serial killers. I'm just pointing it out. Just thought I would let you know.
Dark, and you worry me.
Mm-hmm. I might sleep with one eye open. Just letting you know.
I may never sleep again.
Well, that's what happened with me and Carlos Sr. Whichever one of us sleeps first, the other one gets to kill them. So, and we're both still alive. So it's been like 30 years. So there we go. You might have to work on some techniques. I'll send you some notes. But yeah, we'll have to see, because right now the one part of your scandalous statements against Green Bay that is correct is that it is not a free agent destination. When the team is good, if they're paying competitive, you can coax people out there, but the team has to be good. The team has to be good enough to entice people to try, be willing to come by, because if they make a good contract offer, players still like getting paid, and NFL jobs are NFL jobs. So if the team is decent and you've got a chance to win, and they're offering you a real NFL job with real money, a lot of players will be like, all right, let's do it. I don't have to live here forever, but let's play, let's do what we need to do, and we'll make it happen. So we'll see in the long run what that ends up looking like. But we'll see. I'll stay conservative. I'm going in with low expectations, so I'm not too worried about it. You missed out. Bobby was in the chat earlier. Bobby Burrell comes and goes. He's mysterious. Bobby works in mysterious ways. Yeah, he always has a standing open invitation. Whenever Bobby wants to pop by, he just lets me know, and I shoot him a link whenever he wants. So I will share this other card, since we were talking about this one. So this one is an on-card as far as I recall. I believe it is. I'll have to take a closer look, but I believe it is. So this is from the Sports Kings. And again, unlicensed, same thing. This one's numbered to 50, so they've got a couple of variants. But here's the thing. So unlicensed, right? Now, you can't tell too great, but the logo is still on the helmet, but it's so small because of the angle of the helmet, they didn't even bother to airbrush it out. So technically, this is 100% a photo with license. Again, the whole unlicensed thing is you can't show the logo, you can't say the team nickname, and they didn't. But in this case, because of the angle of the photo, they didn't end up having to do anything special to it. It is possible. And as a result, this autograph, I think, was about $40 as well. So some inexpensive autographs, relatively speaking, compared to some of the other options, if it was licensed. I answered that one. Surprise TPGs haven't come up with a special slab to protect autographs. I think some of the newer ones are starting to use more UV protection. That certainly helps. With autographs, it's lighting. So it's one of those things where there's only so much you can do. It's not like you're going to put like a tint on the front of it too, because you also want to be able to see the autograph. So that's the thing with the display purposes of it. You can put UV protection, which will help to a certain degree. That's a little bit archival, kind of leading in the archival side of things. But there's only so much you can do without reducing your ability to enjoy the image. The image or the art. You want to be able to see it. So
Sunlight is the enemy. Like I have dark shades. The only time light hits these things is from the ceiling, and the light's not on all day, all night. Yeah. It's only on when I'm in here. So I have tons of autographs all over my desk, on pucks, on cards, they're everywhere. I'm not worried about them fading. All the pictures that are on the walls are all autographed. The jerseys are autographed. As long as this stays shut and sunlight doesn't come in, especially and hit anything directly, I'm not concerned about any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right. 57. Carlos, do you watch Sports Card Radio? We reference them regularly. What's your thoughts about them? I'm pretty neutral. I think it's one of those things where it's going to depend on the topic. On some of them, I think they bring some interesting stuff to the table. On other ones, I think you have to almost turn it into, and I've recommended it before, but I'll recommend it to you guys again. I want to say Junk Wax Hero. So Mike Sommer. Go look up Mike Sommer on YouTube and you'll find it. He's been around the hobby a long time. He does interviews with a lot of different folks in the sports card landscape, in sports card space. And probably early this year, last year, I forget exactly when, he interviewed the Sports Card Radio Twins as part of like a two-parter interview thing. And the thing is, if you go watch the interview, you will get a breakdown of what Sports Card Radio is and what they intended to do with it. And it's very frank. You have to kind of take it with a grain of salt and almost play into. You almost have to think like a WWE style thing. There's elements of things in it, but also understand that there is. They understand how they come off. They understand what their presentation is, and they understand what kind of reaction it elicits, and it's intentional. That's the way I'll answer that question. So it's intentional. They're perfectly aware of it, and they're perfectly aware of it. Some people won't like it, and they'll do it knowing that fully 100% well. Because it does play to an audience. Because all you have to do, yesterday they had their live stream, and on that live stream they had 600 to 700 live people for a sports card live stream. Not everybody's there just because they like the info. They do like the drama. So, if you treat it as a show, then you understand what you're getting. But yeah, they built up a huge place in the space, and you can watch their stuff and take it or leave it. But just be aware that, understand there is an entertainment element to it, so you have to kind of read between the lines sometimes with the videos. Is that kind of even-handed, Eric? I think that's pretty even-handed. I think that covers it. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Trader Griffs. Eric, did you meet Gilles Gilbert?
No, and it's been a sad week. Gilles was a friend of the shop. He was very good friends with my friend and boss and owner of Sports World, Phil Castanetti, and we knew about his illness because it really wasn't made public. We knew about his illness for a while now. He was scheduled to come down and see us and hang out with us and do a signing, I'd say about a month or so ago. He had to cancel that because of his illness. And we were, Phil would call him and talk to him on the phone regularly and things. Last Friday, Phil and I reached out to him, called him. We got his voicemail, left him a message of encouragement, and told him to give us a call back. We were actually going to ask him, would it be okay? And we wanted to check on him, number one. That was obviously the most important part. And if he was well enough, because we didn't, we wanted to know, is it your illness is getting so bad that you're just too weak to do anything? Or is it you're too weak to travel, or you just don't want to travel? So we called him on Friday and wanted to know if he wanted to still make some money, and support him also, and see if he would let us ship things to him to get signed. That was obviously the second part, because like I said, that Phil and Gilles had been friends for a long time, and so we left the message, and we didn't hear back from him. Mm-hmm. On the day of his passing, Gilles' son called Phil personally and told him the news before they hit the media. And Phil was just sickened by the whole thing, absolutely sickened by it. And I found out through social media, through Instagram, that he had passed. And then I reached out to Phil, and he and I talked about it. But it's been kind of glum. We have a replica of his mask that he wore with the Bruins with the stars all over it, sitting on our counter this week, and it's just kind of sucks that he passed. And I know there's fans from from his days in Minnesota and his days in Boston, obviously, and his short stint in Detroit. And so he's had tons of fans. He was a great guy, but unfortunately, we lost him this week to cancer. So yeah, it was a sad week.
There you go. That's just a question, Jeff. All right. All caught up on the comments. Sounds good. Let me kind of pose the question to you folks. 357 asked me about the Packers prospects. Anybody else following any of the football teams? Anybody actually paying attention to the preseason? I know some people do. They actually will. At this point, they're starved for anything. So the preseason or not, they'll take it. I've already seen a ton of analysis already based on a couple of snaps and things. It's like, guys, it's preseason.
Yeah,
I can't. There's no at this point. When I was a kid, I was into baseball, Grapefruit League. Like I would follow it just to get because at that point you're so starved to have something. But in the 24/7 cycle where I could be watching the Johnny Manziel story, I got things to keep me. I could be watching the Timepiece Gentleman self-implode. I got things to keep me busy until I'm ready to actually start. When we get to kickoff of the first real football game of the season, I'll be there. I'll be ready to go, and I'll have the streaming package. I'll have everything, and I'll check out the Packer games until I don't want to look at them anymore. However long that takes. So
yeah, Mom and I watched the fourth quarter of the Pats game last night, and it was something.
Yeah, fair enough. Stuke says Joe was one of the few Roger Maris golf tourneys as a celebrity. Great looking autograph. Thank you, Stuke.
He has, I got one sitting right here that's been sitting here for a while. I don't know if you guys can see it, but he has one of the best autographs you'll ever see in any sport for any athlete. It is absolutely one of the best. I've said this for years. I'm not just saying it now. Absolutely one of the best autographs you could possibly get from any athlete.
Now, as a hockey player, why didn't you just get it signed on a baseball? The obvious play is you get everybody else to sign a puck, you get the hockey players to sign a baseball.
Yeah, I have all these baseball players signing hockey pucks. I should do it the opposite way.
Yeah, or like a beach ball. See if you can get a replica Wilson and get the hockey players to sign the replica Wilson.
Yep, there you go.
That could work. Paul says the Packers look solid tonight. Thank you, Paul, for the update. Vanilla defenses for both sides, but they look good. All right, that's good. They got to get their reps in one way or the other. As long as they're doing that, I'm good with it. Trader says, it's a bummer. Wasn't aware he had passed. Well, it makes sense makes sense now that someone picked up a non-card auto I had sitting on my eBay store for the last 6 months. Fair enough. Yeah. Then he says he's counting down to college football. Yes.
Nobody cares. Nobody asked you.
There's a guy. So, Name, since Eric is questioning, like when he blinks, he's doing Morse code, so I have to translate for you. When does the college football actually start? Eric wants to know. He's sitting there.
I need to know when the Ducks play. Please tell me when the Ducks play.
Gilbert has a great signature. Yes, Jeff. Michael Jordan autograph baseball is on my wish list. There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Just me too. If FSU can beat LSU week 1, I'll be beyond stoked. Yes, Paul is a big FSU fan. Makes sense. But yeah, when does I know that the two schedules are close. I know they coincide, but I don't remember exactly when the college season starts because that's when you get into the big Saturday. They have the wall-to-wall. That was one of the things we did when we went to Buffalo for the Bills game. We did a Bills game years ago where we went over on Saturday just so we wouldn't have to rush or we would be able to go to the stadium leisurely on Sunday. So we stayed over on Saturday. But that means you can literally watch wall-to-wall college football. You just flip channels and you can be watching college football all into the evening. Just because no one cares about Boston U or Boston College doesn't mean others don't care about college. Eric is against higher education in general. He's just morally opposed to it. Schools. Words.
Stupid.
1 week before the NFL regular season? Okay. Makes sense. Look, right now it doesn't affect me. The only thing that matters is the season when we get into the University of Cool.
Yeah, because that's a real thing.
They were actually in a championship game a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're almost going to win a thing." They didn't win a thing. It was sad.
You can't win something if you're not real.
Yeah, well, biking isn't real, and you spent like a whole segment talking about that. Trader Griffs, College football gets a big yawn from me as well. There you go.
Yep.
Maybe if they put them on e-bikes,
That would
that's
be
some excitement.
interesting to me.
They could have e-bikes and swords, and then all of a sudden you got football, e-bike, cyclocross.
That'd be awesome.
College football begins August 26th. Ducks' first game is September 2nd. I figured Nate would have those dates ready to go.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'll listen. I'll take September 2nd off. I'll make that a holiday, and I'll gear up in my Ducks clothes, and just have a.
You should literally dress like a duck.
Yes.
I think that seems like the play.
McDonald's. Which one should I dress up as?
Eric, if you dressed up as a duck, we would have a special bonus live.
Okay.
Is that what I was like? Is that why is Eric dressed like a duck? Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. We are the pre-show to the Oregon Ducks.
Yep.
And that will be the episode that we crack 100 live.
Okay. We need to get Numbnuts on here with us on September 2nd and do a pre-show. That's what we have to do.
Man, that's that right there. He's throwing down the gauntlet. We might have to do a Ducks pre-show. Just saying.
Let's see, if he's a true fan or not. Let's see how dedicated he is. See, no, that's real nice. That's real nice. And everyone wonders why I don't like you.
At a certain point, you have to wonder, all the people you seem to dislike, there does seem to be one common element.
Yeah, they're all stupid.
Interesting. Carlisle has Go Dogs. There you go. Look at you. I assume there's a couple of you. Anybody else actually follow their college football team? I know Name definitely does. And I know Paul does as well with FSU. So that's definitely a thing. Carlisle threw his hat in the ring. Does anybody else, like Trader Griff's already said he doesn't follow it, so that's fair enough. Does anybody else actually follow it? Kind of curious. Because there's obviously different levels of following. I'll check out the bowl games. I like when we get into the holidays and you got 1,018 bowl games. I love the really dumb bowl names now, though. They get increasingly... They get increasingly like, and I'm sitting there like, for the love of all that is holy, just one time. Why have we not done the obvious? I want the Cheerios cereal bowl. Like, it's there. It's right in front of your face. Why? Well, take it. The Campbell's soup bowl. Take it. It's so disappointing. Dave says, I like college football. Fair enough. I follow season tickets. Like it. Okay. Which team? Which teams do? Which team? And also, Dave, which team?
All the teams.
There's a million
all
of them.
The teams.
There's a lot of teams, man. There's a lot of teams out there.
All the teams.
And I think they were doing a realignment with, I want to say Pac-12 or so. That's the problem when you get to the point. I find myself, like I've talked about this before. At this point, when it comes to sports, I am so super casual on everything. Like, I'll read a couple of things here and there, but I don't go into any depth. It's not like the Timepiece Gentleman. Like that, I need to study. Like I can write books about it, but a lot of the games, a lot of sports, like I know vaguely what's going on, but not closely. I recall Georgia playing the Poulon Weed Eaters Independence Bowl one season. I just love the dumb names. The dumber the name for the sponsor and everything, the better. It's amazing. Best week in football across all levels is college rivalry week. Generally last week of regular season. There you go. Eric will be happy to know there's a Mayo Bowl. Yes. Yes.
I hate you. I want you to know. I hate you.
Name. If we could get that elevated to be the national championship, I will make sure that Oregon gets there. So we can have the pre-show of the Mayo Bowl. North Dakota State Bisons. Okay. All right. Got just do. Pac-12 is no longer after 2023. I knew there was a thing. That's why I was like, I remember something about the Pac-12. I knew there was some kind of a realignment thing happening or something occurring to it. Okay, so they're getting rid of it after 2023. Interesting. Eric is only a fan of two things. The Boston Bruins, who don't exist, and biking sports that also don't exist. That's pretty much it. And he makes up a bunch of, female bicyclers. It's literally, again, after we find out about the doping scandals, it's just going to be the clown on the tricycle. That's all that's going to be left. Just going in circles, the clown on the tricycle. That's it.
That's what I'll watch. Yeah, I've been a Pats fan my whole life. I was trying to watch. You couldn't watch them on TV because of the blackouts, but I remember very clearly, the 80s and 90s of the 1-15 Patriots year after year, and Hugh Millen as our quarterback, and Dick McPherson as the head coach, and I mean, it was rough. It was rough. I remember watching the Super Bowl in '85 and watching the Bears set scoring records, that nobody could possibly imagine. Uh, you know, so when people say, the Patriots fans are spoiled. Well, the young kids are, yes, but for older people who watch the New England Patriots just suffer for since the '60s, um, we deserved the success.
No, you definitely did not. One maybe, but no.
Fans deserved the success.
No, and by the way, I think the '85 Bears thing was fantastic. William Refrigerator Perry scored a touchdown. That was sensational.
Yeah,
that was glorious.
Yeah, it was so glorious. And Ditka, I think, has even said that he regrets it, because that should have been Walter Payton. Walter Payton, in the highest scoring game of all time, did not score.
I know.
And
I think the correct move would have been for both of them to score. That's where the Patriots failed us all.
Yeah,
I think they should have sucked even worse, and then they should have both scored.
As a sports fan, looking back, to not put Sweetness on that goal line and have him score a touchdown, but you put this, complete freak of nature in, just for the publicity, and it was a circus act. It was, it was insulting. I think that really hurt Walter Payton a lot.
Probably did.
He didn't call his number, on the goal line. You got this lineman to take his job. So, yeah, that was bad.
Have you ever seen any of the card shows at Fenway? I don't think you ever attended that one.
I have not been to Fenway, and the number one reason is because getting to Fenway is the biggest hassle of your life. There's no place to park anywhere. So if you try to drive in, you're totally screwed. You have to take the train and like 3 subways. It is a brutal place to go. It's horrible.
I've taken that train. It was years and years and years ago, but I actually took that train. I visited Fenway and just walked around the outside of it a little bit.
Trying to go to Fenway for any event is a nightmare. Now, the same people that put on that show have done it at the new Boston Garden, and they just announced they are going to do it at Gillette, where the Patriots play. So they will end up having card shows at all 3 sporting locations once they get the Gillette show done, that they announced, I think, just like 2 days ago. But coming up, the Boston Garden one will be in like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
But I won't go to Fenway. No, it's not happening.
Yeah, they made a lot of hay out of it. I've seen a lot of vlogs and stuff. It looks interesting, but again, it was years and years and years ago. It was back in the '90s when I visited Boston a couple different times, and I did visit Fenway, and I used some of the trains and stuff that was there at that time. But that was when the big dig was happening. So there was still a lot of stuff going on. So it was very different time.
Miserable. The big dig has been done for 20, 30 years now, or whatever the hell
it's been a while, yeah.
And it's still it's a freaking nightmare in there.
This is absolute nonsense. I watched a lot of that entire run up, and it's like the Patriots deserve nothing. They deserve to have their championships invalidated, which would be hilarious. I will lobby that forever.
I don't think we deserve any more. I think we're good.
More suffering.
I think it's you got to go up and down, and I think we're in the suffering part now again.
Yeah, I think with all the championships they got out of that, you're good. You're good for another 87 years. So deal with it. Stuke says, I thought it was Washington, Oregon joining the Big Ten, or Big and Cal with Stanford. Yeah, I knew there was a whole bunch of movement. I'm not even going to pretend to know. Again, I'm back to where I said, like, with a lot of the stuff is like, nope, super casual. I was like, I know enough to know there was something going on with it. Vaguely knew there was something about Pac-12 going away or whatever it was, and I was like, beyond that, no idea. I leave it to the folks who are way more in tune with that one. I always just take the T to Fenway. Driving in Boston is horrible. Yeah, back then it was, and I have no doubt it's probably still the same.
And a crowded T before and after an event, whether it be a concert, Bruins game, Celtics, Red Sox, it's horrible, especially on the way back because everybody's drunk. People arrive to games staggered, right? Everyone leaves a game at the same time. And to get in the subway and take these different, trains all over Boston with an entire Fenway Park trying to get on the train at once because nobody can drive to Fenway and everyone's hammered. It's a circus nightmare. It's horrible. And I'm never doing it again.
He's never doing it again? Crazy. All right. Looks like Stu's got the breakdown. Thank you for that. Maple Leafs or Bruins, who would be the better team this year?
Maple Leafs.
The Packers. Who knows?
I'm just talking about the season because, again, once you get to the playoffs, it's a guessing game.
When it comes to these two teams in the playoffs in recent times, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, they both suck.
Yeah.
But I think for who will have a better season, I think the Maple Leafs will.
There you go. Paul says a lot of Pac-12 is screwed because nobody wants them. They're not good at football. Barely function hoops, and no one brings any money. Paul with some light words. Stanford does, but they don't want to spend it on sports. Paul keeping it positive. I like it. Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah are off to the Big 12. Gotcha. I'm curious. A lot of these decisions and things are always related to money. Television contracts and all these things. At the end of the day, all these schools want is money. Like it could be the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Pac-30, the Big 50. It doesn't really matter. Like, what kind of television contract can we get? How much money can we squeeze out of this? Right. And things really haven't changed with the whole NIL thing, and
Right.
I'm happy that the NIL thing is real because then some of the students can actually leverage their own names and likenesses and get something out of it, as opposed to the school just leeching them for everything and, giving them nothing. Oh, but we gave you a scholarship. Screw you. You're making money hand over fist on half of these damn sports. So the scholarship is the least you can do. That's not the grand prize, especially for the guys who are going to go pro anyway. Oh, big deal. Scholarship. Whoop-de-doo. They're going to be here for a year.
I think maybe I'm wrong, but I believe the number one college athlete that's kind of bringing in the most money and selling the most things is I forget her name, but I believe she's a college gymnast.
Wasn't Livy Dunn? Isn't that the one that because I want to say Brian Gray did a deal with Livy Dunn is a name I've heard.
It could be, but I don't think anybody is making as much money off this new rule than her. I think she's doing TV commercials. I think she's been on TV doing commercials. She's signings. Different types of ads. She is making money hand over fist.
So Sporting News here, if that is to be believed, says Olivia Dunn, so the one I was talking about, net worth, Dunn has $3.5 million in NIL deals.
Yeah.
And is third on the NIL 100 list.
So there's two ahead of her?
Apparently.
Who would be making more money than her right now in college?
That's what I'm checking. Let me see here if I can find it. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. Just bear with me.
I'm surprised. I honestly believe that she was number one by a lot.
Oh, here we go. She only trails Bronny James, 7.2 million, and Arch Manning, 3.8.
Oh,
yeah. I heard about the Arch Manning thing. He got a big deal to sign this.
That almost doesn't count. Right. Come on.
In fairness, Arch Manning is barely ahead of her. She's 3.5. Arch Manning's 3.8. So it's almost a dead heat.
They kind of got a head start, right?
Yeah, but that was the point they made. Both of them have family legacies.
Yeah.
So as a non,
Yeah,
so
I'm
as
gonna
a,
say I was right because I like that better.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as not, banking off the family last name, she would be the highest one.
Yeah, I'm right.
Pac-12 couldn't get their TV deal done. They were trying to move to streaming with Apple, but didn't happen. Okay, gotcha. Let me scroll through here. Pac-12 was boned. The second USC left. ESPN realized they didn't have to pay any longer. Yeah. Well, who's in it is kind of important here. Or pay appropriately what the schools wanted, however you want to put it. Yeah. It all comes down to money. Like, at the end of the day, it all was like, all these maneuvers, it's like, oh, yeah, we want to do this. Like, it's money, guys. It's just money. Just got here. Is this live? We can get a recap. Eric is going to recap it starting at second 0. So if you back it all the way up and hit play, it will recap the entire thing up until this point.
And you could watch it faster, so you won't be in as much pain having to watch this crap.
Amazing. ESPN offered $30 million per team. Pac-12 countered at $50 million. ESPN left. Tragic. That is really is. It's really is a lot. It's a ridiculous amount of money if you really think about it. But that was the reason why that's the reason why I had the Livy Dunn name off the top of my head, because I'm pretty sure Brian Gray did one of the deals. Again, NIL is not just one deal; it can be a whole bunch of different deals. The Arch Manning thing was a bunch of different deals, including an autograph deal, including but good for them. Like, at the end of the day, like, whatever. Maybe that's like, especially with like Livy Dunn, she's a social media influencer as well, and she makes money with that, and that's fine. But normally, a lot of these college athletes, there's no money to be made on any of it. Like, they're not allowed, quote unquote, for the longest time. It's like, well, no, why shouldn't I? If she can make money doing that, fantastic. She's not going to make that money being a gymnast. It's like no, if she can leverage off her name and make money, do it, please.
She has had to. The schools have had to hire security at events she's going to be at meets that she's going to, away meets, home meets. They've had to limit ticket sales because people are going absolutely bananas for her when she shows up in town to compete. I don't even know how good she is. I mean, as far as I know, she's not on the Olympic team.
I don't think it really matters at this point. I don't think it makes any difference.
I mean, the colleges are spending, hundreds of thousands for security and having to do things different just because her team shows up and has a meet against their school.
Well, I, for one, am at least grateful that she's not involved in cyclocross. Otherwise, we'd never hear the end of it.
Oh, yeah, I'd be a huge fan if that was the case.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be more worried about her safety at that point. Paul here says the ACC doesn't want to do unequal revenue, and 2/3 of the ACC frankly sucks. Paul, keeping up the positivity, man. It's very important. Appreciate it. And Clemson and FSU are like, peace, bro. I want to think that they specifically worded it that way. I like that to be an official correspondence. Peace, bro. I think it'll be good. Blue schools will be fine. Miami fine. The rest is screwed. See? You never know what's gonna be the touchstone that the chat is gonna be into. The college football talk, they're into it.
No, I'm
Can't
not.
blame them.
I think it's stupid.
Hey,
And
kids are excited.
And I blame
Let 'em have
Nate
their
for pushing this agenda.
It is an agenda. It is true. Who knows, man? Who knows?
And he knows I don't like it, and that's why he's pushing it. And look what he's caused. And he's giggling his little head off out in Western Canada right now.
He's got to lay the foundation for the Oregon Ducks pregame show on September the 2nd when you dress like a duck.
I'm not dressing like a duck.
I think you should dress like a duck.
I'm not going to dress like a duck.
I think it'd be amazing. Be sensational. Everyone would love it.
I think I should eat duck like live on camera that day.
I think if we send you to the grocery store, you will go to eat a duck, and you may wind up with Daffy Duck. You might just end up eating a plushie.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's a real possibility that might be all that happens. But, either way, I think for entertainment value it works.
Sure.
We keep this up, we're going to get an NIL deal. I can feel it. I can feel it. I think we've still got time left in eligibility. Pac-12 has a conference commitment call. Oregon's school president called from the golf course, said we're leaving, and hung up. I mean, he didn't say peace, bro, but might as well have. I like his style. I like his style.
I have 2 years left.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident I got some time left in the eligibility. I want to see what kind of NIL deal we can get. Look, if we can at least get the crumble cookie thing as part of an NIL deal, we're off to a good start.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we could be off to an amazing... Just start there. It could be amazing.
Yeah.
Gotta get the hype going to see Eric waddling around.
Not going to waddle.
Hey, who knows if the hip doesn't hold up by then? No promises. What kind of warranty did you get on it? Think about it. So, question, folks. We'll kind of play by ear here. I'm going to hang out for a bit, and I showed off a couple of the cards that I picked up this week, so I had some fun with that. I did ask earlier tonight if anybody else picked up anything. We did share a couple, which is good. And we got an appearance from the YouTube Sports Car Hall of Famer, Bob Lewis, so appreciate that. I also want to thank Bob again for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Yeah, anything else you guys want to chat about? Like I said, we're in the post-nationals segment now. I understand if you're all running off to go do the Timepiece Gentleman content, because frankly, I'm going to. I'm not done with this. I'm not done by a long shot. I'm like Eric with cyclocross. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I gotta know more. I'm gonna have fun. College cornhole team is all about I can make out right now.
They actually have college teams for this,
I believe they've got a college team for everything now.
Yeah, it's insane. They have college like ultimate frisbee teams.
So I assume yes. Do they have college esports yet? I would think they'd have to.
Yes.
Like they totally have to.
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Okay, so who's the powerhouse in college esports then?
I was going to say something that I don't know if that would go over well, so I'm not going to.
I was going to say, settle down, sir. Settle down. I've been picking up pre-war Disney and getting it graded. Nice. Anything in particular? Be specific. What else you got? National really makes you focus on good cards because when you see quality, you start ditching quantity fast. Gotta stick with me going forward more than expected. Gonna stick with me going forward more than I expected. Fair enough. College esports are probably intramural. Who knows, man? I just posed the question. Like I said, it's one of those things where I'm not looking into it, but I'd be curious.
Would that get me in trouble?
It might ruin our NRL scholarship, our NRL deal opportunities.
So it's probably best I didn't say that.
Probably, yeah.
But it is
especially since there's a demographic that I could probably pitch us to them and get top dollar. It's like, you will be quiet.
But it's true and funny.
I've seen wronger things that you've said. I'll put it that way. Y'all will have to guess, and I'm not telling. But no, I posed the question because I assumed, but I genuinely don't know. But it wouldn't shock me. Why wouldn't they? You got college stuff for everything else. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Makes total sense to me. Obviously, Eric has an NL deal, but only after he eats an entire jar of Hummins. Ooh.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Woo!
Oh
Man. All right, Stu says my 30 card SGC sub, $15 at the National, is on a slow boat. Must have been swamped at the National. What? SGC, where's Bobbles? Where's 540 Flips keeping him?
Oh,
He's got to tell his people. He's got to crack the whip over there.
so
What's going on?
speaking of SGC, believe it or not, I got my very first modern SGC rated card. I got it off of the eBay. Got it for cheap. It completed it didn't really complete it because the next card that I need to complete the insert set is ridiculously priced, so screw that. But anyways, that part of the story doesn't matter. But this is the first time I've ever had one of them.
So this is 96, 97 SPX?
Yeah. So I have, so I mean, I got that, and I don't know, but I got the whole run of that. Like there's the base.
Yep.
Right. That's the hollow view. I got the gold. Whatever. So, but I've only had the older versions of
with the old label. Yeah, with the old label.
So I have a few of these kicking around. but this is the first time I've had the newer version.
Yeah.
I know that's weird, right? Because everyone in the room's got like buckets of these things. This is my first one. So
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where in the niche they're in, they don't necessarily grade a ton of hockey. They've graded some for sure, but it's not like the main thing they do. Trader Graph says 1937 Whitman / Disney Old Maid, 39 Castle Bros Mickey Funfair. All right. I know some of the non-sport guy Paul probably is up on a lot of stuff. I know we've got a few folks that definitely are into paying attention to that kind of thing, so it's pretty cool. Nice. Paul says SGC wasn't super popular with the Natty because everyone knows they can get it back in a week. CSG was more active because of the whole back by end of show $20 deal, and less if you got the membership. PSA line was long, BGS was long too. Yeah, there's some folks that will never give up on BGS ever. Why? No idea. It's not like the BGS one. I felt the BGS one was actually not very competitive at all. I felt it was really expensive given what they were. Like I said, CSG was offering $20 by the end of the show, which is super competitive. Like, that's a very strong offer. I gave that example with the COMC one. I had an 8-week service, and I got it in about 4.5 weeks. So pretty good. They're offering 8 through the COMC thing, and I got it in 4.5. Well, you met your turnaround time, so that's all you can ask. And I paid like I paid 15 to get it graded. I felt good about it. I think it's whatever the deal is. But yeah, SSC is an interesting case because we talked about it before. We've talked about baubles. We've talked about it in general. I think they've done a very good job. I think they've found kind of their level right now. There's not much they can do unless they fundamentally change something. There's not much they can do to like enhance their stuff. They can probably enhance their capacity a little bit, but at the same time, I don't know if people are going to rush to send them in it because they've done the specials. They've done the $9 specials with the baseball grading, which is not a bad idea because hey, the new product came out. Go send them some stuff, right? And that's helped and it's kept them in a good spot. But it's like, yeah, if you need to do $9 grading to get that little mini bump, but you're still hovering around the same numbers, that's about where you are right now. The only thing you could really do is just lower the price. And I don't know how much more you'd get out of it unless there's something else that somebody wants out of it. That'd be the way I would position that. Got back a PSA vintage order after 149 days. Sent that on with vintage special at the beginning of March. Yeah, the vintage ones are super slow. They don't have a lot of vintage graders. We know the vintage ones are pretty slow. Unfortunately.
Well, if you go to, Beckett and you send in vintage, you can get BVG. Because they have the super vintage graders over there with their own special labels and everything. You can get the BVG, or and if you don't have enough money, of course, you can get the BCCCCCGGGGG.
I'm worried that I haven't seen them in a while. I'm wondering. I feel like they got rid of it.
Oh,
should make me sad.
Shut your mouth.
It would make me sad. Very sad. Duke said BGS had paper forms. That is true. By the way, that was one of the jokes, is that BGS was busy because people were trying to fill out the old forms. And they were like, we're in the 21st century. Why are we have tablets. We have technology. We have laptops. There's about 100 ways we could do this. Why are we filling out the paper? You know what? Actually, you know what? I'll share a quick story. Like I said, guys, we'll chat about whatever you want tonight, but you got to let us know. It was funny because for the longest time, I mentioned it years ago because of where I live, proximity of it, I haven't had a car in years. So I let my license expire years ago because I don't drive anywhere, no car. Anyway, but for ID purposes, for the longest time, I've used my passport. But I was like, it's a little inconvenient. Now you can get a photo ID card, and this will come back to the BGS thing. So you'll get more of my point is here in a second. But what that BGS thing made me think about is that in order to get the photo ID card, so first I got the passport a couple of years ago. You can get it once every 10 years now. So I said, like, yeah, give me the max, give me 10 years. I don't want to have to do this all the time. I'll do it once a decade. That's good enough. But you can get a photo ID card. Well, in order to do that, you got to basically give up your license. And I go, well, my license expired years ago. Yeah, I'll give up a worthless piece of plastic. I can't even really use it as an ID because it's not valid because it's expired. So anyway, so I go to the office. I have to book an appointment because they're a pain in the ass in how to do the thing. Fine. But then you go there and you stand in front of the person and they're like, okay, so can you fill in this form? Yes, I could probably have pre-filled it if you guys had just given me something. But they hand you a form and you start filling it in. And it's like, all right, can you put your full name? And it's like, guys, you literally, with my social insurance number, you literally could just pull up the information. It has everything. It has my address. It has all, and I literally know my social insurance number off the top of my head. I could literally just, if you just punch it in the machine, you would get all the information. But you still have to fill in a paper form. All the way down to fill in, oh, check this off, do this. That's basically what Beckett is still. Even though the rest of the world is advanced to the point, like, imagine if we had done the exact same thing I just said. Imagine if I had already been able to pre-fill it and I had just had it printed out and I could just hand you the form and you've already got everything you need. You just stamp it. You double check it and stamp it and half the job's done, right? But that'd be too efficient. Never mind.
No.
Yeah. But just imagine. But here's the thing. I can't even just say it's a government thing, Eric. Because, well, what happens when I go and sell something on eBay? On eBay, I can print out the label. And on the label, all they got to do then is scan it. Just make sure the weight is right compared to what I put on there. And as long as the two match up, they'll scan it quick. Boom, it's already in the system. They'll throw it in the box. So I've already pre-done the work. I've already put in the address. I've already filled in the customs form, basically, right on the thing. It's done. Scan, done. And I'm out of the line. So it is possible. They can, in fact, do it. They choose not to. And this is the same office that does the license plates. This is the same office that does all that stuff. So everybody has to get in line. And even when you have an appointment, it's like, they're like, oh, yeah, does anybody have an appointment? I do. Can I go now? Like, I got my stuff. It's all here. But just imagine. So BGS really BGS is basically operating like a government. And I'm like, what's your excuse? You guys have the opportunity to be, you could do better. Why would you do it like that?
You could do better.
Yeah. Well, the problem is when everybody around you is already doing it, right? CGC/CSG has already, they've entered into the space later as far as sports card grading, but they have that technology already. You can pre-fill some of this. Like even ComC. For the longest time, do you remember like during the pandemic period? Mm-hmm. I mean, we made fun of ComC having the struggles with all the logistics.
Yes.
But here's the thing. But you know what happens now when you go, like, say, go to a card show? You want to drop off some cards? You can pre-fill the little thing, get the little printout. Put the slip in with your cards and hand it to them. They'll scan it quickly and boom, you're done. So you can pre-do it. You don't. Now, they've also got the computer there if you want to sit down, log in, and do all the... But I can actually do it ahead of time. Literally just throw it in the box, make sure they got it. Yep, scan it, boom. Okay, we'll take your stuff. So if ComC can do that, they've got the machine and the building you can see from space.
Yes, don't forget that.
Yeah, and now they have an app. So wait,
Yes.
ComC now has RoboCop, the machine, and you got the building you can see from space, and they have an app. So what is Beckett's excuse now?
They're Beckett. That's the excuse.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're getting lapped by ComC that was dragging its feet on a lot of these things. It took them a really long time. Once they got there, though, they got there. They're better now. But you got to look around you in the space and go, wait a minute, if everybody else is improving, why are we lagging behind?
That's what they do.
Yeah.
That is what they do. And I got to tell you, I am very, very, very disappointed in them because they let me down and didn't do anything major to destroy their company during the National.
That was the other thing. That was the one big, like, if you want to talk about a takeaway, it wasn't even a takeaway. It was like, something I was missing. I was waiting for my standard gun. In fairness, our big story coming out of the National was after the National when we started lawsuit season.
Yes, lawsuit season. We haven't discussed lawsuit season today.
That's true. Actually, yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit. I was trying to remember. There was something else I wanted to chat about.
Yeah,
I got so distracted. Look, Eric, I got so excited about Timepiece Gentleman that it threw everything into a tizzy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is really renting some space in your brain.
Dude, you don't understand. Like, this is the drama I wanted, Eric.
Yeah,
this is what I was looking for right here. It's like, and there will be Schadenfreude. There is more Schadenfreude to come. We're not even done.
It does seem entertaining.
Well, listen, I'm infinitely more entertained than anything sports cards can give me right now. Infinitely more entertained. And again, there's more to come. We're not done. This ain't over.
I need money so I can get all hookers and blow.
Dude, we joke about the hookers and blow. We literally have hookers and blow.
I know.
Somebody can deliver. At least somebody is delivering.
Yep.
So anyway, so now we know the watch guys should be thanking the content gods too. because they're getting some good material right now. They're getting some good stuff. Let me tell you. So yeah, let's talk about it. So we had the first lawsuit, which was Panini suing Fanatics, doing the whole antitrust thing.
Right.
Talked about that, did the video. Now we've got the countersuit. The countersuit, which is longer than the original lawsuit.
Yeah.
So the first one I want to say was like 50, 60 pages, and the second one was like closing in on 100. But it's basically Fanatics like mollywhopping. Fanatics is like, and you guys are trash, and you suck at making cards, and your customers hate you, and your mothers are disowning you. Like, they're throwing everything at them. It's fantastic, Eric.
And you don't have a license.
It's actually very amusing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So I'll see if I can pull up some of the stuff, because there was some good stuff that came out of that. I was very entertained. Did you catch any? Did any of the stuff there catch your eye?
I think it is mentioned about how Panini sued former employees.
Yes.
In there, so that they're, of course, many of those former employees went and started working for Fanatics, which was in the original lawsuit that you're stealing our employees. So
and by the way, to be clear, so we're all on the same page, there's 3 lawsuits right now. Yeah. There's the employee lawsuit, that's 1. There's the Panini to Fanatics antitrust lawsuit, that's 2. Then there's the Fanatics back to Panini, where they basically are making fun of them. That's 3.
And when 2 companies want to sue each other, that's all well and good. But when a company starts suing employees that don't have a $1 million to $1 billion in the bank, that's just ridiculous. So that's one of the things that they I think they mentioned in their suit. In Fanatics suit against Panini is Panini going after employees. I think that's brought up in there.
I think so. So I'm going to grab a couple little quotes here. So Sports Collectors Daily is where I pulled this from. I did mention that in the video. I'll include the link to the description here tonight for folks that want to check it out. I think that'll be interesting. So let me scroll through here. Okay. So Stuke says, just got an autograph ID from an autograph group I belong to. Looks like I may have an Edmund Hillary autograph index card. Great flea market find for 75 cents. Go to PSA DSA for possible slap. Just send it to Rick.
Yeah.
Good luck, Stu. Hopefully it works out for you.
I mean, that'd be incredible.
For 75 cents, that's an amazing find. So I say, best of luck to you.
I hope, hey man, that would be incredible. Good luck with that.
No doubt. No, best of luck to you. Please report back your findings. Josh here says, as a YouTube content creator, can you explain the advantage of having 2 channels, Sports Card Investor and the Jeff Wilson Show, why not having all on the SCI channel when lawsuit talk is done? So, good question. This is actually a really good question. It depends on your philosophy. I can give you a couple of reasons why you would. One of the reasons is it allows you to divide up the content in such a way where you can monetize 2 channels. That's one specific reason why you could do that. Another reason is that YouTube, and it's important here that when we talk about the whole algorithm thing, none of us outside of YouTube really fully understand it. And I have dug into it a little bit more, and it's not necessarily the way people think anymore. It's changed, because the thing is, every time you think you kind of figured it out, they change something, right? And they can always keep changing it. So it's like, once you figure out how to game the system, they change it so that now you're not gaming it anymore. Now something else is the factor. But one thing that YouTube does like is if people, basically, as anything you do that makes people watch more, engage more, watch more, react to what you're doing more, or spend more time watching. If you're already subscribed, watch more. If you're a new person, you start watching a video and you don't immediately click off. You hang around and keep watching. Maybe you subscribe, maybe you don't. Subscribers don't even matter anymore, really. Engagement does help. It does matter a little bit, but the number one thing is watching. If you are watching the stuff, if the video is 10 minutes and you're watching 8.5 minutes of it, it's better than 10 people watching 10 seconds of it. So it's like, that's basically how YouTube sees it. And it'll try to keep feeding you stuff you're watching. The point is to keep you on the platform. So whatever it is that you're watching, that you're actually sitting there watching the whole video or most of the video or whatever, it's going to try to feed you more of that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is when you've got a channel, some people may only, in the spirit of what I just said about getting people to watch all the way through or as much as possible. What if you're somebody who likes Sports Card Investor for whatever reason, you like the slickly produced videos, but then you do the Jeff Wilson podcast, the Jeff Wilson show, and you don't care about that. So you don't click on it. Or you click on it and immediately click off. That actually hurts the channel. Because it's like, yeah, so you're watching these videos the whole way through, but these other videos, you're only watching like 30 seconds of it or a minute and be like, oh, this isn't for me, I'm clicking off. Versus a channel that is focusing on those interviews, the Jeff Wilson podcast episodes, and you know what you're getting. You're subscribed to that channel, that's what you're subscribing for. You're subscribed because you want to hear these sit-down, long-form videos. And on the other channel, you're looking for the 8 to 10 minute, slickly produced card show vlogs videos or whatever. So you're serving two different audiences. If you like the stuff, you might subscribe to both, but some people may only subscribe to one or the other. And that is another reason why you might do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I also would add, and I'm not saying this has to, Jeff in particular, kind of answering the question as a whole, is you're separating yourself from your business. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you have a Jeff Wilson channel versus a Sports Card Investor channel, what if he goes off the rails on the Jeff Wilson channel and say, somebody tries to sue him or something, they can't say that the Sports Card Investor channel had anything to do with it. So now you can't sue Sports Card Investor, the company, the business, the that copyrighted material. He said it on the Jeff Wilson show. For example, if I started a channel where I talked nothing about politics and I had extreme opinions one way or the other, really just unhinged, right? Extreme stuff. People may come after me for that, but they're not going to sue Carlos because on Fridays we don't talk about any of that stuff. You understand the analogy?
Well, they might still try to get that sweet like button money.
They're
like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but it's sometimes, and again, this really has nothing to do with Jeff specifically. It's you're separating your business from your personal by having two channels also. And
but basically what you're saying is you're insulating liability.
They can't go after your company because you said it on this other channel.
Yeah, I think though, depending on how the individual plays it, I don't think it provides too much protection, but it is a valid point. You are separating two brands basically, so that is a thing you can do. So I think it's a combination of all the above. Like realistically, for like a Jeff, he knows that, and it goes back to what I said a moment ago. He knows that the Jeff Wilson show will draw a smaller audience than the Sports Card Investor regular videos. So in a certain way, yes, the isolation helps. It helps him establish a separate brand, separate from the main Sports Card Investor channel. But it also means that the Jeff Wilson podcast stuff won't drag down the other channel, because it would. Even if it's the best, interviews, discussions, whatever. It's still long form content. It's not going to get as many views as a slickly produced 10-minute vlog from a card show. It's just not. It's going to get less numbers. So in turn, it would actually pull down the rest of the channel by comparison. Whether the content's good or not, which is a different conversation. That's subjective. It depends on what you like, what you prefer. But it's just an important distinction you want to make. Yes, good evening. Absolutely.
I don't know why he needs to call us names, but all right, whatever.
Happens. Josh says, I think you would want the content in front of the largest subscription channel to make more people more aware of it. It would work only if it actually helped. I can guarantee you, he could make the best podcast in the world and it would still draw worse numbers. Like, I can guarantee that.
I just noticed that it's been about 2 hours. Shut up, Josh. I think I'm contractually
obligated.
Yeah, to get a good shut up, Josh, in every 2 hours at least. So I think
it would have been. I think the people would start to worry if you hadn't included that.
I wanted to make sure. I got a good shut up, Josh, in there. So
there. All right. So with that said, good question, Josh. Thank you for that. Let me quickly do some Fanatics slandering Panini, because that's fun. I did enjoy it. So in the countersuit, so these are some quotes from the Sports Collectors Daily article. Again, I do recommend it. It's a good article. It summarizes a lot of this stuff very nicely. So thank you to them for putting it together. Not only is the lawsuit littered with factual inaccuracies, but Panini's own licensing practice and experience as the long-standing incumbent presiding over multiple overlapping exclusive licenses with Players Association leagues gives the lie to any allegations that it is now an antitrust victim, which is true. They had a long-standing exclusive, so calling antitrust is the pot calling kettle black.
Mm-hmm.
So bear that in mind. The other, put that on here. Thank you, sir.
No, shut up, Josh.
One other piece, though, that came out of this from the countersuit that I thought was interesting was the pieces that talked about Panini and them pursuing a sale. So this was an important piece because they covered that in here. Panini's been threatening us with this lawsuit for months, using it as leverage to try to make us do a bad deal based on falsified profits. Those are some big accusations. That's a very important piece in this countersuit portion of it. Fanatics lawyers say the countersuit pits Fanatics Collectibles, the innovative disruptor, against Panini, the stagnant long-term incumbent. I like that they put in some digs. The digs are, what make it.
Oh yeah, we like that.
The digs are a little extra. This is the important part, though. Fanatics revealed that it began discussions with Panini in February of 2022. So we're getting some specifics here. So this is very interesting stuff here. Again, if you care about the industry side of it. About a deal that would have ended Panini's licenses early in exchange for a cash payout. Now, this is important. Because a lot of the discussion, there were options on the table, right? But a lot of the discussion was, they buy Panini. No, this discussion here, the way it's phrased, is ending the licenses early in exchange for a cash payout. It's not necessarily buying Panini. It's just saying, give us the licenses. The licenses are what we want. Not even necessarily buying the brands. Right. It might be a situation where Panini would still have Prism, National Treasures, all the brands they own. But they're like, no, I want the NBA and NFL licenses. That's what I want. That's the number one thing we're talking about. And if you end it early, you get a sweet cash prize. And that's what they were arguing about, the sweet cash prize. Fanatics claimed the two sides had hammered out an agreement in principle that would have swapped the NBA and NFL and NBA licenses to Fanatics by July 31st of 2022. So it's giving us the timeline here. Again, according to Fanatics. That would have allowed Fanatics to accelerate its plans to become the league's card maker well ahead of the original 2025 and 2026 timeframe. However, Fanatics says Panini dragged out the final details and submitted earnings projections that were inflated by 30%, translating to an unreasonably high early termination fee. And then it gets into a lot about the Fanatics CEO, including accusing him of lobbying for a job. So like I said, it gets a little bit salacious. Not quite Timepiece Gentleman, but it gets a little salacious, A little bit of like, you're talking about negotiating a lot of bad faith there, Eric. It's a lot of bad faith.
Well, we know a lot about that here.
That's right. I like it. That's what I say, praise the content gods yet again. But it's one of those things. I didn't want to get too deep into the legalese side of it because the Paul Escos of the world are very good at it. They will be very good to break it down. But in general terms, like this is very accessible. Like what I just read and explained here is very straightforward. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. So I'm like, okay, I like it. So now that's the question: is that what happens next? I'm here for the mudslinging. I'm here for it.
This won't really go to court. It'll all get worked out.
No. I think it'll be a settlement. The question is how long. How long do they drag it out? Because I don't think either side wants discovery. Discovery is where you get into all right, now we're going to find out where the skeletons are. Where are the bodies buried? It's like, Paul, do you know where the bodies are buried? So it becomes that question. Yeah. And neither one of them, it's a weird thing because we're arguing about exclusives that really are anti-competitive. But you have one group that that currently still has the anti-competitive exclusive, arguing that it's bad that the other one gets the anti-competitive exclusive. I'm like, are you sure that's the angle you want to take on this?
Yeah, right.
Especially since, per the countersuit, you're saying you were willing to do a swap as long as they were willing to pay the price. Fanatics is saying you overestimated and you're saying you made up a number. But if you had paid the inflated number, you would have given them the license. So apparently you didn't care about the anti-competitive antitrust then, did you? Yep. And that's kind of Fanatics' counterpoint. It's like, you clearly didn't care enough if we had paid the freight that you had asked for. So we'll see. And the question that I would have is, does the Fanatics CEO survive this? Because part of the conversation here is accusing him of a lot of stuff. So here's another quote here from this. Panini's Italian owners embarked on a protracted, unlawful, and deceitful campaign of unfair trade practices, strong-arm tactics, and torturous misconduct to hamper Fanatic Collectibles' nascent business in the hopes that it could force Fanatics Collectibles to pay an extortionate amount for Panini to terminate these licenses early.
So
It's a tragic tale.
Did they just call? Did they just call the Italian owners of Panini mobsters?
There's a lot of accusations happening right now, Eric.
Because I mean, that's just like straight out the Italian mobsters.
They literally put extortionate in there. Extortionate.
Yeah.
I was like, we got to pay the protection money?
Yeah, exactly. That's
It'd be a shame if something happened to your wonderful license.
Yeah, are you gonna bust my kneecaps?
Like I said, Eric, I'm loving it. I am appreciating the direction in which this is going.
Oh yeah. Especially now
I
that
think-
they just straight out called them mobsters. I just think that's awesome.
Yeah. So here, Panini primarily sells to distributors who then sell to retailers, hobby shops, and breakers at enormous markups, none of which flow to Panini or its licensors, and all of which work to the detriment of retailers, hobby shops, breakers, and ultimately collectors. While the reliance on distributors enriches distributors with outsized profits, it often results in significantly higher prices paid by stakeholders, which in turn are passed on to collectors. This outdated business model underscores Panini's inability to adapt to modern business dynamics and consumer trends. So you're mobsters and you suck at business.
Yeah, and you suck.
I like where they're going with this, Eric. I like where they're going with it. Big fan. Big fan.
Yeah.
Could you guys sling a little more mud? Do you wanna get some fresh mud and just do a little more sling in there? So serious question, and I'll open up the chat because I could read a whole bunch. Like, there's a lot of good shit here. There's a lot. So I gave you certain ones that were fun for me, but there's a lot more here if you want to read through it yourself. And I'll include it in the description so you can check it out on your own time. But question. How long? Remember, the two licenses expire in 2025 and 2026, respectively. So we're in August of 2023. Blink, and we're going to be at Expo. Blink again, and we'll be talking New Year, and I'll be doing my year-end show. But then we're pushing 2024. We're getting closer to 2025 real quick. Like, it's not that far away. So here's the question. Let's assume that it doesn't go to trial. Let's assume it's some kind of settlement. They do their mudslinging, get it out of their system, and come up with some kind of a deal. How long? How much time do we go between now and when something is settled? And what kind of settlement do you think it is? Do you think it's just a straight up, finally they come to a price? All right, transfer the license and be done with it. Does Panini America get spun off? Do they take it as part of the deal in order to sweeten it up? What is it? That's the question I would pose and ask you.
The longer Panini.
I'm talking, and this is me talking slow.
Yeah, I know.
I can go much faster than that.
The longer Panini waits to sell,
Yep.
the less money they're going to get.
But that's the reason why. There are already pressures built into this. The license becomes less valuable the closer you get to the end.
Yeah,
It becomes the Topps thing all over again.
Yeah, every day, I mean, it might be pennies on the dollar, but every day, the number's coming down.
Yeah. So that's why I asked the question. So Paul here says if Panini doesn't sell or share by April 2024, I'd be floored. So he's put in that date, which fair enough. Josh says I say by Christmas. Could be.
That'd be a nice Christmas present.
Yeah, that gives him some months still to sling some more mud, amuse us, and then have a surprise for us before the end of the year.
But I bet that Fanatics will demand in whatever settlement they come up with that the other lawsuit against the employees gets dropped. And I don't know if Panini may or may not do that.
I think if they settle on the license thing, I think the rest of the lawsuits go because there's no point. It would be contingent. Like if you're Fanatics, you're not leaving an open lawsuit on it. You're saying like you drop it, we make a deal, we come to a number, that's the number, that's the deal. Everything else is closed. That's part of the deal. I think the Christmas timeline is a good one. I guess it depends on how acrimonious it is. Like I said, so let me take a point that I think was made. Might have been one of the guys, and I think on the Jeff Wilson show, Jeff had one of his employees there with him talking through this piece a little bit, and I want to say he made the point. I could be mistaken. It might have been somebody else. I know I heard it definitely for sure, but I think one good point that was made. Panini had a 56-page lawsuit or a 50-page lawsuit, whatever it was. Fanatics countered with a 100-page lawsuit, nearly 100 pages. You cannot whip this together in a weekend. You had this ready to go. You indicated that you were waiting. You were expecting. You were threatened with the possibility of that lawsuit as part of that ongoing negotiation, which means if you're Fanatics, you already had your lawyers drafting. You were working. And if you see a version of it, when they trash Panini's customer service, all that, they got tweets and things from people denouncing Panini's crappiness. So it means that they went to social media, took screenshots, and included it as part. Which is to say, you didn't just throw that together. That wasn't just one intern's project overnight and be like, "Hey, whip us something together." You don't whip together a 100-page thing with some really good zingers, Eric.
And I would guess also that Fanatics has more money than Panini. So
they definitely have a bigger market cap. Panini, though, is not a small company. Like, let's be fair. We're not talking about like Topps was actually much weaker when Fanatics decided to step on their throat. Panini has the European stuff, the European operations and stuff. They can keep operating as a business, but Fanatics would be the bigger one.
Bags and socks and jerseys and this and that and posters and pennants and fatheads and whatever the hell else they own. As far as I know, Panini makes soccer cards and basketball cards. You know, I mean, I don't see how you could keep up. You know, it's just because you're a successful company in what you do, Godzilla comes to town and you're not so big anymore.
Yeah, but I think what's going to be interesting is, I guess it really comes down to how petty Panini wants to be. Because I think they know. I think they know it's... If it's a war of attrition, Fanatics wins. If it's just, drag it out. The Fanatics would rather not because they want to get on with it. Like, they've got their stuff. They've been preparing to basically take over. They want to start. And because they can start doing their thing, and it allows Panini basically to get out of the way. How petty does Panini want to be? How far do they want to... They're basically bleeding each other. Fanatics has more blood to give, so they'll win that war eventually. But they can still bleed a while, if they want to play that game. And it's still going to be costly. Even to win this war, it's going to cost you money. It's not like it's free to pay all these legions of lawyers that are doing your dirty work. That's why I'm kind of curious. So, I don't know. Big Scott. Some wonderful Fanatics slanderous words.
This may have been the best show we've ever done, Scott. So you really missed out. I've been nothing but positive, insightful, supportive. It is really I think this might be the greatest show ever done on Because I'm Carlos. And it's too bad you missed it, buddy.
Yeah. Look, Eric, your words notwithstanding, the entire segment on Timepiece Gentlemen was, I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it. And I will continue to enjoy it if the longer that one stretches out. That was good for me. Yeah.
No, you don't. Screw you, Bob.
Yeah. There goes Sereno. Go Godzilla. There you go. Paul questions insightful. Paul, calm down. You're already going to murder the man. We already talked about this earlier, so you got that going on there.
Paul, you scare me more and more with every comment.
Yeah. Eric, did you just got on?
If I had a sense of humor, I would say that was actually funny. That was actually a funny joke. But considering I'm dead inside, I refuse to laugh.
So you're saying you almost responded to comedic
I felt
stuff.
a twinge on this side of my mouth that it almost raised up in one of those smile thingies.
Are you sure that wasn't a muscle spasm?
Could have been. I could have been having a stroke of some sort. I'm not sure.
That's possible. You'll have to let us know if you smell toast. Bob Jackson says, I slept for the last 3 hours. Best show ever. I think it was your best work. You were messaging pretty good in your sleep. I feel like your contributions during that sleeping was also your best work.
I wish I was sleeping for the last 3 hours instead of being here. sucks.
Oh, you haven't done this, Eric. The problem is you're still an amateur. I've been sleeping for the last 4 hours and no one's noticed. It's pretty good,
Yeah, I got to get on your level.
dude. If you can do it with your eyes open, that's the game. Worth a watch this weekend. There you go.
No, it really is.
Google Timepiece Gentleman. You can spend your weekend on that. I will. All right. So right now, I think the show's been pretty good. We're sitting at about 3.5 hours. I don't feel any need to extend it more than it needs to be. Like I said, I enjoyed the lawsuit thing. Like, I could literally talk about this for a while, but the truth is, it's pretty straightforward. The two are suing each other. Panini is taking a very awkward stance. If I was going to summarize this, Panini's taking a very weird we're against antitrust stance when they basically were doing that for years. Right. And Fanatics is like, dude, you're literally doing that for years. What are you talking about? And you were also willing to sell to us if we had just paid your stupid price.
Right, the ransom.
Yeah, if we had been willing to do that, you would have left and not said a damn thing. You hypocrite. That's basically Fanatics' counter. And then they're tossing in insults along the way, which entertain us.
Which is awesome.
Which we appreciate that. Like, that makes it better. Yeah. But yeah, that's the gist. That's the crux of this.
I'm pretty sure it said, quote, unquote, you dirty Italian mobsters, unquote.
I think they might even say they don't even like paninis.
Mm-hmm.
They might be insulting the sandwich. It's pretty bad, man.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's one more good one here that I wanted to grab. Panini's lawyers responded, blah, 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 in the suit. I want to see here if I can find it. I still like the thing where they own a segment of the printer. That was fun. I like that. Here we go. Oh, here we go. By tying up Fanatics' senior leadership in a dead end, early termination talks that lasted nearly a year, Panini prevented Fanatics Collectibles from devoting its full attention to creating, improving, and delivering better products and services for the group that matters the most, collectors. Our Fanatics overlords were here to save us, and the damn sandwich makers are ruining everything.
Yep. And the mobsters got in the way and ruined it for everybody.
Dang. Is this another counterpunch beat the original punch? Oh yeah. Like, look, when I made the video on the original lawsuit, the not the employee one, the original antitrust lawsuit, I said I don't blame Panini for trying, but it's not a very effective argument for me. As the not lawyer here, but just looking at it on the surface, I think your argument is kind of weak. I understand what you're doing. You got to try, No, but it's very clear to me from the response from Fanatics that they were literally ready for this. They were literally sitting back going, all right, they did the thing. Grab the paperwork. Oh, yeah, it's already done, man. We wrote it like 6 months ago. Go get some screenshots for me to top it off. We'll throw in an exhibit at the end. The rest of the shit's written. Yeah, I got some zingers in there, man. I've been waiting to use these. There's literally a dude here that's like, yes, my moment has come. I can almost guarantee it. There was one guy in that law office who was like, yes.
Yeah, his job.
And he was probably very bitter when he was doing it, and it shows.
His job is professional zinger.
Yeah, and he was probably hoping that this would happen because he didn't want his work to be wasted. He's like, I already typed it all out, man. It's ready. I just need to use this. Yep. Did I miss the weekly discussion of who has the best mail? Eric, as always, will be the judge on that.
Shut up, Josh.
Did the UFC class action lawsuit come up at all? Not that I'm aware of. I hope one of the tweets, including someone calling them poopini, maybe. Ooh. Like I said, they did grab tweets. They grabbed literally screenshots of tweets of people complaining about Panini, which is fantastic. Yeah, was this Fanatics' red button? They might have to activate the red button. That's why I did the second half of the video where I talked about the unlicensed. I talked about Brian Gray and the whole red button thing. I made reference to all that because I said, okay, let me ask one more question. We'll go off on this one. So, lawsuit notwithstanding, when we think it's going to end, whatever. Do you think, this is a yes or no, or elaborate however you want in the chat. I'm just curious your take on this. Do you think, after this gets settled, one way or the other, if Panini's out, as far as being a licensee, this is my condition, if they're out, do they hang around making unlicensed cards? That's my question. Do they, because in baseball, it's the MLBPA, but they don't have the MLB. Now, they could always go the leaf route, bring down the batch numbers, print less, but still produce a product and try to get around it using the leaf playbook. And Panini has more resources, so they could play that game a little bit. They could get some signers and do some of that stuff. do they even hang around and play, or do they completely get out of that segment of the business and go back to stickers? That's my question.
I think they will try, and then Fanatics will sue them again.
Well, the thing is, like, if they did that, they'd have to sue Leaf because Leaf skirts that line already. As long as they don't show the logos or use the team nicknames, they can, like the Joe Montana card. All he had to do was get Joe Montana to agree to be on the card, one, and agree to sign, two. It's Joe Montana's contract. It's this reason why, if you guys ever check out any of the Leaf products, some of them, they'll have the autograph or a piece of memorabilia, but they'll just show like a silhouette of the jersey number, and they won't show the likeness of the player, is because Brian Gray is still getting permission to the players to show their likeness.
Yeah,
so he still has to sign them.
I do hate that about Leaf. They should either do like I'm thinking about some of the hockey jerseys, swatches and stuff I've seen. Either do all jerseys, with the back of the jersey with the name and number on it, okay, or all faces. But when they have a headshot, back of a jersey, headshot, back of a jersey, all when they do
Mix and match.
Yeah, I think it looks horrible.
Yeah,
I don't like it. So either when you make the card, get everyone's okay to sign off, so you have all headshots, or you make it all jersey shots. But I hate the mix and match that Leaf does.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So Paul says, no, I think Fanatics pays a little extra to make them go away. Either they would create unlicensed cards. I wonder if the sticker license expire if Fanatics try to get it. Top says the initial stickers. That's possible. Fanatics wants everything. They could try to get it. I already know the WWE Panini product has actually been very well received. On the whole, the WWE folks and the wrestling card fans do enjoy the Panini offerings. And I think they make some nice cards. I will say, like, they've got the new Select. Nice looking cards. They're not for everybody. Not everything is perfect. But there are some nice cards that they make. I bought some of them, and I've got some of them. They're nice. I think they're nice for what they are. But that license is expiring too.
I think this is the only Panini card I own.
Yeah, that was from their run when I think 13, 14, thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, 13, 14, National Treasures.
Yeah.
That's the only one I own.
Yeah. And they did a good run there. Carvin was there when they did that little run with the license. But I'll say is that you can try. Like I said, Leaf has proven that you do have that model. Again, Leaf always says, though, Leaf claims that they can try to do it. Again, talks about the case law and everything, but it's like the reason that Leaf has not been sued is because they haven't pressed the infamous red button. They haven't done, even though Brian Gray claims, he's got it in his head, like, I could challenge it. And he goes, go ahead. You already know we're entertained by lawsuits. Hey, what's one more? Let's go.
Right.
But I don't know. I'll be curious to see. That's why I posed the question. They could do the unlicensed thing if they follow the rules. And I showed that with that Joe Montana and with the bet. Oh, if you do the right picture and show the right angle, you can do it without airbrushing.
Right.
So like there are ways of doing it where like that's a legitimate photo. You went to Getty Images, you got licensed to get the photo, boom. You got the player to sign off on the ability to use the likeness, done. You've covered your legal bases and you move on.
Yeah.
Or you could just get out of that business and do something else. I don't know.
Or you could do what Upper Deck did years ago and completely airbrush and change the color of the damn uniforms.
Yeah. Well, for that one, they had the NHLPA.
Yeah.
That side. They had the rights to that.
So, I mean, I think that's hysterical that, Patrick Waugh is wearing yellow and blue.
I could be wrong, but I want to say I feel like some of those were practice jerseys. Like I'm not 100%. I feel like some of them were practice jerseys, and I wouldn't be shocked if maybe that was from a scrimmage of some kind. Because that was a way around it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I just think that the weird colors are what kind of leads me down the path of wondering if it's not a scrimmage or a practice.
I think they colored them yellow to get around everything. That's my opinion.
Normally you just airbrush it to make it like white. You make it very plain. You don't go weird funky color. So Brian Gray called his products player license. Yes, that is right. That's the verbiage he used versus unlicensed, which is an interesting play on words. Look, Brian Gray is very entertaining when he decides to get into kind of his look. He's not a lawyer, but he stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night. He does one of those deals like, I don't know. They can go full UD metal card and go non-pro sport shots. Yeah. Like, look, we've seen different takes on this. You can go the entertainment route. Like I said, Leaf has already demonstrated when Brad showed that Kim Kardashian card, who has to license that? Kim Kardashian. You signed a contract. You said, yep, will you sign some of these for us? Yes. Can I use this picture? Yes. Great. We're good then.
Good.
And he's got the celebrity products. Yeah, and he's got the celebrity products, and there you go. And it makes sense for what you're trying to do. And if you want a Kim Kardashian auto, well, there you go, man. There's a Kim Kardashian auto. Have at it. If you want one, there it is. It's available to you. Brian Gray is Brian Gray's biggest fan. Very true.
Yeah.
Very much so.
As
Very
someone who has spoken to him and has been in clubhouse rooms for long periods of time with him, I absolutely positively agree with that statement. There is no bigger fan of Brian Gray than Brian Gray.
BG loves himself some BG. Carlisle says, I recently saw AI generated reimagined logos of all MLB teams. I'd be curious if you could use these phony logos on the licensed products. So Leaf is already using some AI stuff to create photos and pictures that never existed. So if you reimagine them enough so they're not really recognizable and it no longer meets the trademark, you could probably make an argument. It'd be a little murky. That's an interesting take for Paul Lesko. But again, you'd be kind of playing an interesting little game. Again, if it's very clear, that's why I use the example of that Sports Kings one. Literally, the G on the Green Bay, you can see the edge of it, but because you're not seeing it directly, they didn't airbrush it out, so they can get away with it. Or if it's an angle where you're literally not seeing the logo entirely, you can get away with it. And you don't put the team logo nickname on there. And when Panini does their stuff, they don't say Atlanta Braves. They just say Atlanta. Ronald Acuna, Atlanta. You have to know that it's the Braves, but they don't say it. They make sure that, nope, Atlanta baseball team. Like you don't call it the Braves. You just say Atlanta. And that's a city name. You can't trademark that. Brian Gray is Brian Gray's only fan. Possibly. Is Clubhouse still a thing? Allegedly.
Isn't it past your bedtime or something? Good Lord.
Different time zone, man. He's only 8:43 over there.
Ugh. Go put your kids to bed.
There you go. All right, folks. Last comments. Any final thoughts then? And we'll move on this week, and we'll roll into next week here. We'll have some fun seeing what comes of it. And then we'll be in like another week of NFL preseason. As you know, the thirsty NFLites hope, pray. We'll be in September before you know it. Like, we're getting there. We're getting closer all the time. We'll get to September, and then things will get interesting. And then before you know it, we'll be in October. And once we're in October, October is one of the really good sports months. Some interesting, fun stuff starts to happen. You get a little bit of the hockeys. You get close to the football. You get over to, you got baseball playoffs. So if you're a sports fan, you got options. Lots of options. San Dimas High School Rules. There you go. Good stuff.
And next week, tune in next week. I may or may not be coming to you from a bathroom again, which I did a couple of years ago, I believe, when I was staying at a hotel with my family, and I had to
what I want to do now. So what I want to do, Eric, is while you're talking from the bathroom on location, maybe I'll send you a couple of videos, and I'll send you down the Timepiece Gentleman rabbit hole. So all of a sudden you'll be like, Carlos, you were lying. Oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. So
all right.
Who knows where I will be broadcasting from next week?
There you go. Fair enough.
Chance I'll be in the bathroom again.
Yep. Bob Jackson says, who are the collectors rooting for? The Panini or Fanatics? Listen, I'm all about the Fanatics overlords. Plus, I think Panini. I honestly think Panini's already lost. I'm enjoying them dragging it out. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm having fun. Like, if you guys want to make a couple more like insulting, press releases making fun of each other, like, I'm for that. I'm 100% in favor of it. I do think the Fanatics overlords have a little bit of an edge on this one, just from a stronger legal position. And the more it goes, the better their position gets. But who knows, man? A judge or whoever might see it differently. Like, it could be 180 degrees the other way. I just don't know if I see that scenario play out. Chocolate sticks is my final thought. There you go, Josh.
Oh God, I'd kill for some chocolate sticks right now.
I remember the bathroom stream, aka Eric's office. Facts.
Yeah, that's where I was sent to.
Or our collectors hoping for Fanini. The combo.
Panini. That's a good one.
The combo. Yeah, look, Eric, as you well know, as a noted man of peace.
Oh, yes.
I just want everyone to have a good time.
Yes.
By that I mean me.
Yes.
That's all I want. I just want everybody to have a good time.
Yep, that's all.
Fight for my amusement. Just throw it out. That's all I, Eric. Fight for my amusement. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go figure out what the hell if the Timepiece Gentleman has lit himself on fire.
Yeah.
This is a great time, Eric. This is a great, wonderful time. This is not quite a golden era.
No.
But it's dangerously approaching a golden era. Like, one or two more things go the right way here, Eric. We might have a new golden era. Getting close. We're getting close. I don't know.
Only dream.
Praise the content gods, as always. All right, folks. Another evening in the books. We're actually going to get out of this one before midnight Eastern. There you go. We did it. Great chatting with you all. Great comments from the stream, and thank you again to Bob Lewis for his generous patronage of us. We will continue to back him in his lobbying for commissioner or overlord. Yes. I forget, whatever it is of the YouTube Sport Car, whatever it is. He can be whatever he wants.
Emperor. I think it was Emperor.
Look, Bob, at least for $5, I'll back Bob with whatever the hell he wants. Like, I'm good with it. Yeah, sounds great. I gain nothing, I lose nothing. So there we go. Hope Kathy is doing well and recovered. Thank you, Bob.
Doing great, Bob. Thank you.
Remember to leave a like. Thank you, Paul. Yes, even you, Eric. Have a good one. Love it. Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much, Name. Appreciate you. All right, folks.
I don't.
Yeah, everyone but Eric appreciates you. All right.
I don't appreciate you at all.
In the Eastern time zone, you are still 13 minutes from midnight, so you got a little time left. And in the West Coast, you still got lots of time. So enjoy your prime time viewing. Enjoy your prime time stuff. And then we'll be back next week for the 149th, almost 150. 149th edition of the longest running episodic, whatever the hell this is.
Ugh. Dude, find something else to do next week, people. Come on.
Almost 150. Almost 150. All right, folks. Have yourself a good night. Catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.